I'd like to start off this show by saying we're all here and sober as a judge. So this episode will be a little bit more low key.
Yes, definitely.
Secondly, I want to say that the response to last week's show was great. It always is whenever we have one that's completely off the rails. The thing about those, you can't do them all the time.
No.
You got to do them every once in a while, and then it spices it up a little bit, and then you bring it back down a little bit. A lot of people wrote in about the Marvel conversation, and a lot of, I got to admit, a lot of people seeing my side of it. In short, to the Cliff Notes, I was saying how Marvel has an exceptional reputation based on a lot of good content.
Yeah.
Not an exceptional reputation based on exceptional content.
But like, yeah. I think quantity has something to do with it.
Yeah. So, but
and consistency mainly.
But it also transitioned, is the word I'm looking for, into a conversation about how a lot of it as of late has been definitely more in the mid category. But we got a lot of good, and one of the most interesting things that I got in about it that I want to bring up is somebody ranked, they hit me up with a top 10, and obviously we're not prepared for this, but it was an interesting top 10 list. It was a top 10 Disney Plus shows. And I was like,
there are only 10.
Yeah. So, but it was, I guess it was about putting them in order.
Okay.
And I don't even know if there was 10, to be honest, because he has some blank spaces in his, if memory serves. But let me just ask you, what do you guys think has been the best thing and the worst thing offered through Disney Plus?
Book of Boba is the worst.
Yeah,
I agree.
I couldn't bother to watch it.
I agree.
That's the worst. As a whole, it's the
Book
worst.
of Boba is the worst.
I mean, in saying it's the worst, I enjoyed it just because it's Star Wars. I'm easy.
One of them's got to be the worst.
I'm easy.
So it's okay if
I guess you want the best on the back end of that.
Yeah.
Maybe Falcon Winter Soldier for me. I think that's the one that pops up in my head. Because that did a lot for me.
It's one of the more well-structured ones.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like a lot of fluff. It seems like...
There are definitely parts I didn't care about in it, but there are a lot of parts I do care about.
Even the parts I didn't care about, I understand how they're important to the story they're trying to tell.
I think, it's hard to, in my mind, it's hard to categorize all that stuff the same because in my mind, Falcon and Winter Soldier is close to the top for me as well, but it's very grounded in reality, right? On the other hand, you've got WandaVision. And you've got the Loki show, which are complete fantasy off the rails. So, I enjoy the fantasy stuff. I enjoy the realism of some of it as well. I'm probably going to say the Winter Soldier and Falcon as well. For me,
it's Clone Wars, the season finale of Clone Wars.
Oh, I didn't even think about that as a Disney Plus show.
That's my favorite so far.
Okay, I was just thinking about the live action stuff. So, like, I might have to put Clone Wars up there instead.
That last arc in particular
not the anime, Joe?
No, not the anime. There are only like a few episodes that I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
Was masterfully done, that last arc, that Siege of Mandalore arc. So yeah, anyway, I thought it was an interesting conversation. I thought it was interesting that my Star Wars are bookends to the best and worst.
Makes sense.
That's
true. That kind of makes sense what you like right now.
And I think most of the Marvel stuff, to be honest, it ends up somewhere in the middle, and then most of the Star Wars stuff ends up somewhere on the back end.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else, Christopher, that you wanted to mention today?
So Bobby, I have two questions for you.
Yes, let's get to it.
How the fuck did you get the talented Mr. Ripley suit?
Yes.
And who the fuck let you on a boat?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Chucky O, who has been on this show, he got married.
Chucky O got married.
He got married.
Let me talk about it.
And he invited me, but didn't just so this is kind of interesting. Maybe I'll just talk about Chucky O's wedding right now.
Sure.
He hit me up and asked me to be a groomsman.
Awesome.
Yeah. Ish.
Free responsibility is never good.
Yeah, I want to say this. I didn't expect it. It kind of took me back. I was touched in a way, but I was also surprised. So I'm going to skip ahead a bit. Later on that evening, it was the most disorganized wedding I've ever been a part of.
Right up your alley.
Would you have it any other way?
No, I need to know, like, I'll be there. What time? I gotta pick up my suit this time.
Oh,
I gotta,
your fun schedule.
My fun schedule. Anyway, I ended up with him and his wife and just Laura and I at the end of the night. They were gonna he had a family member there that was feeling ill, and they were gonna go back and just take care of them. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. There's other people around. They could take care of it. This is your fucking wedding night. We're hitting the town. Let's go out. You know. And then so I got them out of the fucking shit into the streets.
To the block?
Well, no, because we were in Annapolis. So
the other town.
To the block. It's just a very different block.
I like the downtown there's
it's cool.
Got a nice
it's cool.
vibe.
So
Nice
little
vibes.
nice
Different
little
vibe in Baltimore.
Little Main Street America vibe.
Yeah.
So we went and had a couple drinks here and there, had some pizza. But I ended up asking him. I just had to. I was like, hey man, don't take this any kind of way. I'm happy to be here, but why in the hell did you have me as a groomsman? You know. And he was like, well, Tara, who's his wife, really wanted you to be here. And I was like, okay, but that's weird because I've met her twice and I've known you for like 10 years, but
right.
but okay. And I said, oh, okay. I was like, so Tara wanted me to be a groomsman? And he was like, well, and we have a couple issues with some of the family members. And I thought maybe if any of them got out of line, who would step up and do or say something about it? It'd probably be Bobby. So it was really a pragmatic choice.
It sounds like
Wow.
Bobby's actually the bouncer there. The secret bouncer he didn't know.
So that was interesting. My wife made fun of me because we went to this place called The Level in Annapolis to eat afterwards, like the reception. This cake, this wedding cake, I fell in love with it.
Oh boy.
I was like, this is delicious. And they're like, it comes from Costco.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
nice.
And my wife's like, fucking figures. Because she says I have white trash taste.
Costco's some good shit, man.
That's what I'm saying.
I've heard this from lots of people, and I actually know someone who makes very expensive wedding cakes. That shit's out of a fucking box, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's all in the decoration.
Yeah. That makes sense. Trying to think, I have some notes about it. One of the things was at the end of the night, I was starving. 'Cause I didn't eat a whole lot. I just had Caesar salad and a piece of cake. Because the rest of the food it wasn't for me. It was a little fancier.
I would have had more cake.
Yeah, well, I had 2 pieces.
Oh.
Yeah. I snuck the second piece. I'm not sure if I was allowed to have it or not. But it was too damn good. I'm drunk. And I'm outside of this pizza shop. I ordered a large pepperoni pizza for Laura and I to go back to the hotel room and crush, right? And I'm sitting outside with Chucky O, his wife now, congratulations, and Laura. And this guy walks up and says, he starts rapping.
Oh, they have a mixtape too?
So what's interesting is a young white fella, and not that race matters, Joe, but for the sake of the story. And he says this line, I used to give a fuck, now I give a fuck less. And he started going in, and I knew that line, and I zeroed in on it, and I was trying to figure out what it was from. And later on, it dawned on me it's from the song Success by Jay-Z and Nas off of the American Dream or American Gangster.
Yeah. I knew it rang familiar to me,
But he said, I guess I stopped listening after that part. My mind was trying to figure out what it actually was. He said it was an Eminem lyric, and he said, the greatest rapper of all time. And I was like, he's not the greatest rapper of all time. Like objectively, I was like, Hove is the greatest rapper of all time. Now, doesn't matter because that's the last interaction I have with this gentleman. There are somewhere in the ballpark of 8 to 15 15 to 21-year-old black kids to my left, all hanging out.
Are you still wearing a Talented Mr. Ripley suit at this point?
I'm still wearing the Talented Mr. Ripley suit at this point, with a pair of ups. So I've got white on white Air Force Ones on because we were on a boat and we had to wear something with white soles. So
Hey.
So I turned to them because I saw them looking at me.
Yeah.
And they were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, he said Eminem's the greatest rapper of all time, and he's clearly wrong. And they said, well, who is? And I said, Hove. And they said, who? And I said, Hove. And who? And I was like, Jay-Z. And they're like, I don't know. So I walk over to them.
Oh boy!
Now I want to get in this conversation. I don't know anybody there. So
are you still holding a pizza at this point?
No, I'm waiting for my pizza.
Okay,
I'm waiting for my pizza. So they were like, he's not the greatest rapper. Like, name one of his raps. I was like, oh my god. So I go into the drunk but there mental Rolodex, and I start rattling off Jay-Z verses from top to bottom, and their cell phones start coming out and recording me. Right, so I'm like, oh boy, here comes the 40-year-old white guy dressed like Mr. Pinochle,
Mr. Ripley.
It's a Matt Damon movie.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I'm gonna end up going viral. And then they kept trying to get me to do more verses, and I was like, no, I'm not doing more verses. I've done 3 verses now. I feel like you're trying to make a monkey out of me, which is fine, but I'm here for the conversation. If you guys want to talk, I'm here to talk. And then she was like, and then the one girl who was closest to me was like, you got a big ass head. And I was like, okay, here we go. And she was like, you got a big ass head and got nothing but sunglasses on it. So I started laughing because that shit was funny, and I'm all for that. Like, I like the jokes. And I was like, you got fucking Crocs on outside. And I went in and I was like, because she was talking about my suit, and I was like, my suit's for a wedding. Your Crocs are for choice. Like, I was like, you have buy one get one outlet shoes on, and you're talking about my suit. And then her friends start laughing at her, right? And then this other kid pulls up on a bicycle. And I hear one of the other kids say, "Ooh, you hear what he said?" I was like, "No, what did he say?" But I'm here for it now. I'll take you all on. I'm on some Optimus Prime shit. And they were like, I was like, say it. They're trying to get him to say it louder. And I was like, he's not going to say it. Look at him. He's on a bike. Listen, I don't take insults from people who don't have a car insurance note. And,
right.
And like, you know what I mean? I'm going after these kids, you know, and like some of them ended up like dapping me up and get there. And like this one girl was like, he might be right about the suit because his sneakers are super clean, which she so I ended up winning a few of them over, and some of them weren't going to do it regardless because it's just a 40-year-old white guy arguing with him about who the best rapper alive is. But we walked there like Chucky, and they're like, why did you engage in that conversation? I'm like, because there's a fucking point to be made. And it doesn't matter what I look like, and it doesn't matter what they look like. The fucking point somebody needs to educate them. Somebody's missed whoever their big bros are has not been present.
Did they mention who the best rapper is?
So they said their top 5. Forgive me. This not necessarily in order. Little Baby was in their top 5.
I think it's Lil Baby.
I'm sorry, you're right, Lil Baby. G Herbo was in their top 5. Who I'm a fan of both. J Cole was in their top 5, which actually I was surprised about because he's a little bit
clothing brand.
That's Cole's. There is a
J Crew.
J Crew.
Yeah. It's like buying J Crew at Kohl's.
Yes.
Yeah, and when that happens, we're all in trouble.
And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to recall any of the other ones off the top of my head. But I mean, I liked everybody that they mentioned, and I think that most of the people that they mentioned, there was an argument for them to be the top 5 now.
Yeah.
But not of all time. Not of all time.
Yeah.
They just don't have those sort of accolades. If any of them were to be in that conversation, it would be J. Cole, and I still don't think he's quite earned it. But yeah, so that was part of it. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything about the Chucky O's wedding before we move on. So I have my notes in here: arguing with kids. Okay. So I can't put out a whole bunch of information about Chucky O's situation, but the girl who he is married is a lovely, lovely girl. He doesn't deserve her at all, because he's neurotic and she's sweet as fucking apple pie. Like, she's just one of the most sweetest, genuine people.
Well, you need something to balance him out.
Yeah, he does. But her family is very religious.
Oh,
right, very religious. So I get to the wedding. I arrive. I walk up. I see another guy in a gray suit who I've never met because there's no organization to this thing. So I see, he's probably part of this shindig. So I walk up and they're like, hey, are you the guy that's going to, because they don't know me because we've never met. Are you the guy that's going to marry them? Are you like the reverend? And I was like, hell no. And I see them look over at me, and I didn't know why they were looking at me weird. And I was like, and on top of that, I was like, the guy that's marrying him, I know that guy. He got his shit off some .com website. It's not real.
Bobby, how'd them Uptowns taste?
Yeah. So then I was like, you know what I mean? I'm just going on about my day, and I just walk on down the thing, and and then they're like, oh, did you meet her parents? And I was like, no. And they're like, oh, they were standing over there, and I was like, not over there with the other guy in the gray suit. And they're like, oh, that's exactly where they are. And I was like, oh fuck. So I found Chucky O, and I went up to him and I was like, hey man, I think I may. He's like, you did. I know already. It's been smoothed over. We've already talked to them.
Oh my God.
he was like, try not to say too much more to anyone else.
Jeez.
So I was.
It's his fault for inviting you, really, and not warning you ahead of time.
He knew what he was getting, right?
Correct. So later on, actually, when I got off, his wife Tara was like, "You've been really quiet today." And I was like, well, and then because I didn't want to tell her what I did, so Laura was like, he's trying to be on his best behavior, was what she said. But it made me feel a little bit better because the person who married them, who you I don't think you've been here when he's been here, but you have. He came as George Washington and lady. Yep. So Shipley's this dude's name, and he had to say, he was like, by the power invested in me by lightofthechurch.com, you like, because like it's like part of like the legal requirements, and
to say where you got your thing,
to say
from.
Where you got it from, to say because it's part of the ceremony to say like what has given you the authority to give the marriage. And normally you could just leave it out, but in the cell phone era where all of that shit's going to get recorded and posted, if it comes up, he could have his certificate taken away. So he had to say it anyway. You know what I mean? So like he had to say it anyway. In many ways, maybe I softened them up for it. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't that much of a surprise.
Right. That's what I'm going.
You had to say with the .com though.
I know. That's what I said.
Really?
He said they give you a specific thing of how to.
Wow.
Of how and
it's
what
like
to
promo,
say.
bro.
Wow. Yeah. He's like, link is in the bio. He had to say that at the end.
Link in bio.
Anyway, Joe, you got your coffee first. Chris, how was your nerve?
Oh man, I'm done building dioramas.
Yeah, for like a day or two.
Not forever, but the orders we took up until like a month ago, all they got to do is be packed today, and they're done.
Nice. Congratulations.
It's been exhausting, but very grateful at the same time, right?
Can I also say that everybody wrote in last week after the episode and said, "Hey, if the offer for the flag stands, I'd like to get one, please."
Okay.
There's going to be houses and pickup trucks all over America flying the Nerve Rage flag.
So I watched a bunch of shit this week. A lot of it sitting at my work desk with the TV while I was cleaning foam or whatnot.
Right.
I watched a couple movies. I know one. Joe, you had mentioned King of Thieves.
Yes,
I did not like it.
It's too British for you.
Well, I didn't think it was interesting. I don't know. I just didn't think it was a very caper movie, and you'd know that by the music. It was very
It wasn't standard caper movie.
Yeah,
it had twist, not twist perhaps, but like it's just not standard.
I'll tell you who I feel sorry for. It's that guy who played Daredevil, because
Daredevil.
I cannot.
Yes.
I'm like,
Daredevil.
what the fuck are you looking at, dude? You're not, because in my head, he's a blind guy, right? And he's obviously not. But I don't know.
I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, it just didn't click with me, And honestly, I was watching it while I was doing something, so I might have missed a key point. I watched another movie on Amazon that wasn't great on Amazon called Protege. It's got.
I saw
an older movie.
I think it came out. It's come out during the pandemic.
Oh no!
It's got
I think about something else then.
Maggie Q in it, and Michael Keaton and Samuel L. Jackson.
That's three really random people to be in the same movie.
It is.
Who did the gripping of keys one?
Yeah, it wasn't listed. It was that low.
You didn't say to the credit.
Oh, dude, always the unsung heroes.
It was kind of I don't know. It wasn't great. It was one of those. It was one of those.
Dude, I feel like we're having a moment.
No, well, it was not great. It was not great at all. But it was one of those things like, well, I'm 45 minutes in. There's 30 minutes left. I'm just going to finish watching it. There's a couple twists in it, but it's also like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Oh, he's not dead? Surprise. Watch Free Guy. Oh, yeah. The Ryan Reynolds NPC movie, which reaffirms my belief that we're all living in NPC
for sure.
world. It was cute. Charlie actually sat and watched it with us, and he'll hardly ever watch a movie with us, but he actually wanted to watch it, and we watched it. And it was entertaining. Ryan Reynolds is a very funny man.
He is.
I like The Best Friend.
Who was his best friend? The cop, the security guy.
Yeah, the other security guy.
That guy was funny too. Yeah.
Do you feel like he's always like the same type of funny though? Yep. Not to say that's a bad thing, but it's just like the exact kind of funny you're gonna get.
I remember seeing Ryan Reynolds on a comedy called, I think it was Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place.
Yeah,
that was like the first thing he did, and that same kind of dry, almost. He takes a
super sarcastic.
He takes a beat to listen, and then says something.
Super sarcastic. Yeah.
And then, of course, Van Wilder.
Yeah.
He was in X-Files.
Was he?
That was one episode.
Oh, okay. Well, digging deep there.
He played a four-armed octopus.
Ozark, season 4, part 2. Watched all of it. Holy shit, that show is so fucking good.
This is the last one, right?
Done.
Good ending?
As good as you'd expect. Okay. You know, it just kind of stops. But it stops on a beat that you're like, yep, okay. It really tidies up everything. There's some really heartbreaking... There's some characters that don't make it, obviously, in a show like this, and some of them you're
some
like...
Some friends become enemies, some enemies become friends.
You're just standing there with your fingers crossed, hoping this person is going to make it to the end, and not everybody does.
It's like Game of Thrones every week.
Yeah. It's pretty... I mean, that show is great. If you guys... Anybody who hasn't watched it, it's a very tense show. I'm a huge Jason Bateman fan. I love him, and like I guess I really just started enjoying his work in Arrested Development.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I've seen a lot of movies he's been in that aren't great over the years since then. But he's heavily involved in this show. I think he's the EP. I don't know who the key grip is before you ask.
Okay.
But I will say, and I almost screenshot it. It was pretty cool. After you finish watching it, it says that, you know, it gives you the suggestions, and I think it's called Leaving Ozark or something. It's like a 30-minute kind of interviews with everybody. Yeah. And they actually interview a couple of the grips.
No shit.
And they're talking about how big of a family situation, you know, family
it has to be.
is.
They got invited to the party.
Yeah, right. I meant to grab my phone and just record it real quick to send you guys, because I thought it would be funny, but, or at least write down their names, you know, so they get that
mention that credit back.
Man, you sit there and listen to them, but don't even have the time to learn.
Yeah. So, I mean, that show, I guess it speaks to me maybe a little deeper than others because of the hillbilly nature of the whole thing. I was talking with Jeremy B., who is from he's from West Virginia.
Almost heaven.
Almost. So, you know, I think I sent him a message. We were talking back and forth. I said, I think you and I probably relate to this on a level that some of these people don't quite understand. You know, I'm not saying my mom's family are the Langmores from that, but there might have been. I have a cousin named Ruth, so that was my grandma's name too.
Trudy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's always kind of heartbreaking when a show ends because you've enjoyed it so much. But I think that's a sign of a great show if you're upset that not the way it ends, but just that it's fucking
that's
done.
over. Yeah.
You know, it's just something to look forward to, and yeah, hopefully we'll get, you know, I mean, I don't know if they're going to do any spin-offs of it or anything. There's just so many fucking great characters in that show. And,
yeah.
They did a good job wrapping it up. I mean, seeing where it was halfway through the season, you know, to get the rest of it out, I thought was pretty good. I think we'll talk about Moon Knight, I'm sure, but yeah, that was it. Joe.
Is it over? Moon Knight's over, right?
No,
they got one more.
Tomorrow. And apparently you need to watch that before Doctor Strange, from what I've understood.
Okay, I think that's possible.
It's very doable.
When's Doctor Strange?
It's Thursday.
We're going Thursday.
Streaming. Is it streaming at the same time?
No, it'll be.
But they're not far behind, I feel like, these days.
Not.
You know, it's interesting. That's an interesting conversation. I've been thinking about that a lot. So we've seen that gap close, the theatrical run to the streaming run.
Yeah.
Do you think that gap used to be long because they had to produce the physical media?
Yeah, definitely.
And now,
like back.
Definitely.
I mean, back when you were in the movie industry.
Sure, it wasn't that long ago, but like
it was like 20 years ago.
Well,
no, because even so. To be fair, right? Like before everybody had their own studio streaming service, right? Before Peacocks and fucking HBO Goes, and, you know, before every owner of media had their own service, you pretty much relied on Netflix with a sprinkle of Amazon, right? And Netflix wouldn't get their shit for another 6 to 8 months behind the DVD release.
Right.
So like anytime a product came out, you're looking at it hitting Netflix over a year from its release date.
Right.
Because what they wanted to do was sell the physical media.
They wanted to sell the physical media.
So when Netflix would get it, you could, like, people used to joke me about why I kept Netflix's mailing service for so long. But the reason was because that's the only way you could get the new shit without having to buy it.
Right.
You know, but then as that started to fade out, then this thing has happened where the studios have stepped up and they can put it out ASAP, and then that puts Netflix further behind the ball. It's one of the problems with why Netflix is fucking failing.
Yeah.
You know, is that they don't have the shit that they have ownership for. It doesn't get the theatrical release. It doesn't get the same type of rollout. It doesn't get the same type of buzz, with few exceptions. Some of the stuff does go.
Sure.
But yeah, so like that's part of it is that I think there was twofold. One, they had to produce the physical media, which comes with all of the editing for the bonus features, all of that kind of stuff.
Deciding what that is.
Getting the directors and actors
DVDs,
sometime back for commentaries and all that kind of stuff. All of those logistics for one, and then for two,
I thought they'd like start doing that at the same time.
sometimes they do. Sometimes they do.
last, like, 10,
Sometimes they
10,
do. But
15
sometimes they would have the directors back way later because he would talk about like the red carpet night and
I think what we'll
how
see
the movie performed, etc.
I think what we'll see now, let's use the Batman, for example. It came out, 6 weeks ago, maybe?
Maybe something like that, yeah. March something.
By the way, are you done with that figure?
Yeah, it's behind you. It's been sitting behind
I didn't know that.
for like 2 weeks.
I meant to ask you last week. Anyways, so the movie comes out, and then, I mean, is it 3-4 weeks? It's not long at all.
Well, like,
that
I
it's
don't
out.
know if that's, I don't know if we can compare. Well, I guess things just change. I'm just not sure if things can be compared that way because we're kind of in a post-COVID era, but not exactly really, right?
Yeah.
Well,
COVID changed a lot of things permanently,
Right.
And there's no going back to before, and I think things are just different now because
That's it.
of COVID.
Well, we've reset expectations. That's what it is. We've reset expectations. And I think what we'll see, to your point about coming back later and directors come, I think what we'll see is, like that they put it out on streaming or you can buy it digitally off, whatever, Amazon, Vudu, if that still exists, that kind of place. I think the physical media will come later, but it'll be more of a deluxe version with the deleted scenes and the director's comment. And we're not going to get that day one. Here's just the movie.
Yeah, remember
like
VHS days. The only time, because I've never been like much of a just edge of my seat waiting for a fucking thing to come out. I can watch it whenever.
Sure.
I just remember VHS days was about 6 months.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time,
and that was just playing. Here's the movie in a fucking cassette tape.
Yep. With a Domino's Pizza commercial before it.
Yes,
that's right. Yeah,
and be kind, please rewind.
And exactly. God damn it. I'll tell you, working in the film industry, every morning when you came in, we had a drop box overnight, and it was literally just like a 55-gallon tote. And we had like 10 rewinders, and just as we were checking,
are these shaped like sports cars?
I actually had those. We had some that were, yeah.
Were you good enough to where you can pick up a cassette tape and know that it was rewind or not based on the weight on its sides?
No,
I feel like some people are. They can pick up. It's like, this guy didn't rewind.
I feel like I got to that level.
Yeah.
But,
it's like, this side is heavier.
The Super Saiyan level of VCR.
Because you could put the movie in either way.
I did want to say that the other thing about it was that, that's how they made their money, right? Was like you made your money off ticket sales and merch to begin with, and then you made your money off the physical media sales later on. So I think a lot of it also, in addition to the logistics and the production of it, was they wanted to give it time to breathe. So like absence make the heart grow fonder kind of thing. So did you get excited about a second rollout to buy the shit?
I wonder, if I can't be the only guy who's like this. So I have to imagine with like the closing of the window between theatrical release and streaming that there's got to be less people going to the movies.
I mean, I think there are. I think
the box office got.
I think if we look at box office, see, like that's the same thing like what you were saying. Like if these production companies having their own streaming sites and kind of trying to have ownership of their material without sharing was sniffing heroin, COVID was mainlining it.
Yeah.
And as soon as it's gone there, I mean, I think everybody's realized like they don't have to play in the sandbox anymore if they don't want to. But I think that we might see a second intermediate step come in where like the pay for rent stream might hit earlier than like I can see that shaking out where like the Batman is owned by Warner Brothers and it comes out theatrically. 90 days later it's on Amazon to buy for $3.49 for a month, and then after that month it hits streaming for so that they can, once again, it's just about tripling down on that dough, and quadrupling down on that dough.
The other thing that's interesting to think about is yes, I do believe there's less people going to the theater, but I also remember within the past 4 or 5 years paying like $8 or $9 to go see a movie, whereas it's 15 or $20.
That's a good point.
Like we're going. I just did the math. They were $15.70 a piece for the movie.
Whole ass fucking Outback Steakhouse meal, bro.
Exactly. DVD. So they're doubling their money. They're doubling their money on each person.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like the price has got to be a deterrent for some people to go too, right?
I think for certain with kids,
it's always with like price to like quantity to quantity ratio. Like when you increase the price, doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna net your profit.
In the fucking 80s, my dad wouldn't take me to anything outside of a matinee unless it was something I was super excited for. That was like an event. Like when Turtles came out, I got to go at night on opening night. It was like a big deal. But other than that, I'm like Back to the Future 2. He's like, yeah, well, maybe Tuesday at 3. I don't know. It's gonna be tight.
I mean, I choose to do
$3, right?
Back when I did still go to movies in the past few years, I chose to do that. Also because less crowd, less fucking people, cheaper, and I'm off during the day a lot.
Right.
I never in my entire life bought fucking food from the theater. I always thought that was insane for people to do that because it's fucking. I'm not buying $5 sodas,
dude. But the
like,
pretzel bites. Have you had the pretzel bites though? Is the question.
So have you had Auntie Aunt's?
Dude, I fuck with pretzel bites harder over Auntie Aunt's.
I would not pay
Auntie Aunt's.
Yeah, Auntie Aunt's.
I'll not pay $8 for no fucking snacks and no theater.
They were like $4. They were like $4.
Dude, it's a Chinese in me, man.
So
I can't.
I'll tell you, I understand.
You gotta try this
wholeheartedly, but at the same time, I know that's how the theaters make their money.
Nacho chips. Too.
I just don't care about them making their money.
That's fine. That's fine.
Nacho chips too.
Like if you make your money off of scamming people, like maybe you should make money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Joe, do you know where Peter Pan's favorite place is to eat out?
Wendy's.
That's
kind of creepy.
But I think that's
no. Wendy's what, like fucking 12?
Not anymore. That was like back in the 80s, Joe.
If she's fucking like Neverland, you don't grow up. That's a problem.
She didn't stay. She went home.
That's true.
Did you know on the Wendy's logo it says MOM on the collar?
Mom?
Once you see it, you'll never unsee it. It's like it's always there. Yeah, it's like a little Easter egg.
Wendy's your mom?
Interesting.
Yeah. Going tomorrow night to AEW in Baltimore. I have third row tickets.
Nice. You gonna get sweated on? You gonna get like spit and stuff?
Oh, we get blood on me.
Hell yeah.
I don't even know what the card is. So yeah, it was a little bit of an expense to do that. Those seats aren't cheap, but I was like, you know what? Let's fucking do it.
Let's do it.
Looking forward to that. Moon Knight.
So I really liked this episode.
Yeah, I did too.
Like I like
bring it back.
Yeah, like this episode and the first episode are great.
Yeah, this one
1 and 5.
We're back to where, and I think where this show thrives is it makes you question what you're watching to see what's real and what's not.
Dude, and I'm getting chills talking about it, but like,
it's a fine line. That's a hard thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And they've done it well on two of the 5 occasions so far.
I think the dude killed his ego.
Think so?
Yeah, like
Kurt Russell.
Like chew on that for a minute, right? Like there's 2 sides to his personality, and we agree, and we get the feeling there's a third side, right? So to me, it's almost like the super ego and the ego.
Yeah.
And the ego stepped in that we now learn to protect him as a child, and he doesn't need it anymore, and he killed his ego to save himself. See, that is the shit that I'm chasing, Chris. Is shit to like really lock my mind around and have like a cerebral fucking experience with it. Like, thought the effects looked great. I was like, oh, this is why there hasn't been a whole lot of shit during the show, because they saved the money for this episode.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, I thought the effects looked great. Like, it made me emotionally invested in the character. Like, it was all about him. Like we just talked about last week. We didn't need the female. We didn't need really Ethan Hawke, really.
Right.
We didn't, like, it's about him and figuring out who he is. And we got to sit with him for a minute and learn about him. And it was fucking great.
Yeah. Just, I mean, in and out of the what's real here with being in the fucking asylum, or I don't know, man. It's a real mind fuck, and you really have to pay attention, but it's fucking good.
It's good to hear that as well. Then when I heard that, I'm like, because I've seen other media that does that, but it becomes convoluted piece of shit because you're like, well, I'm so lost now, I'm not even interested anymore.
Right.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, it's funny because the real world, or at least what we believe could be the real world, that's like in episode 2, 3, and 4, and most of 1. They spend 4 hours in this space, and at the end of 4 hours, I don't give one single fuck about any of it. But in 1 hour, in our main character's head, who is an actor with an extraordinary performance, I love it. You know, like, you don't need all the bullshit.
Didn't they just greenlit season 2?
I mean, who knows?
I would imagine they're going to do a season 2, but
that kind of stuff to me is a lot like when I get people DMing me like, dude, Fans Toys just announced Cobra Commander. I'm like, okay. You know, good.
Yeah.
You know, I will.
When the tracking number hits, let's get excited.
I feel that way too.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Like, let me have a release date.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot of broadcast television. Just it's on in the background or whatever.
You pay for YouTube Red or whatever, and you watch broadcast television. What the fuck, man? It doesn't make any sense to me.
And right before you move on, I could remind everyone that 6 years ago, Fanstoys also announced a Blitzwing.
That's right.
Like 8 years ago, they announced a Soundwave. Now we got one.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yes.
Saying that to say broadcast television, they're promoting the fuck out of this show with commercials, like during just regular commercial breaks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Check out the critically. I don't know. They've got a pitch line for it, and it shows some exciting scenes, and then only on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think I don't know. To me, I think they like. I'm not to say they figured out because they won't. They'll get back to the full cast because you got to have it. Like that's.
Take a breath.
Yeah, because like there's a formula that you have to follow almost in order to kind of check studio boxes. I feel like you have to have a lead male. You had to have a lead female. You had to have a supporting male. You had to have a supporting female.
Why categories in the Oscars?
Why? Exactly.
Exactly.
Because you want your product to be as recognized by as bullshit award shows as possible.
Yeah.
So now you're bringing in actresses, actors, and characters that in key grips, most importantly, well, not key grips because they don't detract; they only add. Jokes.
Yes. That's
But they many would say they unlock the secrets to what makes this show good. But like you're adding all of this stuff that the story doesn't necessarily need, but you got to check the boxes.
Yeah, it's very formulaic. And it's an issue. I was working on a project recently where kind of have carte blanche to do what we want as long as we get to the point. And it's like, I mean, I think outside of the box is such a cliche at this point, but it's just like, it's true because it's like, we don't have to work inside these parameters to get this done. We can do whatever we want as long as we get back to that point. And I think a lot of filmmakers and TV makers, whatever you want to call them, are scared to break that formula. And the other thing you have to think about is, does it lure in talent that they can hire to play these roles because the show's going to be up for some awards?
Probably.
Like I think it's shows your conditioning too in both ways. Like it's studio things, mass audience is looking for certain things for the general population, for the most eyes on a product. You probably need all those things, but at the same time, like, audience are conditioned to want those things, so it's like it's hard to break out of.
Yes, but I think that sometimes like there are a few exceptions.
And it's just like working from the office, man. Like we've realized after 2 years, people don't need to go to the fucking office to do a lot of jobs, but management is still requiring people now to go back to the office for no particular fucking reason. So look, it's like a conditioned thing.
Is Snatch great?
I love Snatch.
The film Snatch.
The film Snatch.
I enjoy it.
Me too.
Yeah.
And you do too. I know that's one movie that all three of us love.
Yes.
Not one female actress role in it.
Really? I haven't seen it in so long.
There's a minor role where that lady that takes the bets, all bets are off. And they're like, I ain't fucking buying it. Appreciate it. I ain't fucking selling it. But all bets are off.
And the mom.
Other than, and the mom. My mom. But there's no lead actress role in that whole fucking film, and you don't need it. Girl Interrupted. Fantastic movie. Not sure if you've seen it. Fantastic fucking movie.
Time, but
90 something.
Not one. Not as extreme as Snatch, but not one extreme male role in it, and you don't need it.
Right, to tell the story.
I mean, it's based on the story, right? You just have whatever the story needs, because there are some movies where there's just two actors.
Both of those movies have a little bit of independent sauce going on in it, and I think that's kind of where independent films can they can circumvent the system. But the problem is
no one like telling them what to do as much.
Correct. And now those are still, both those films are attached to studios. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but not
they're not completely, but they're not exactly.
I'll use Ozark as an example. It's very strong female characters in this show. The story arc at the end ends up basically being all the female characters. And one of the actresses that's basically an unknown has won a ton of awards for her portrayal of this one particular character. There's some strong male leads, but it's looking at it objectively, it's a female driven show. But which is surprising for the setting it's in.
My thing is just that I feel like the formula often does far more harm than good to the overall telling of the story.
I think in general, if you just have a checkbox to check, and not just based on whatever you're trying to tell, whatever story you're trying to tell, like it becomes a distraction.
I agree. Good conversation. Oh shit.
That's it for me, though.
Joe, what do you got?
A bunch of bullshit. Well, not bullshit. I did podcast with Shoki and Ricky 2 days ago.
Okay.
On the podcast. Now you
I'm
made it
familiar
awkward.
with both of those gentlemen.
Yeah, now you made it awkward.
Yep.
I ended up having like 3.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't say bullshit. It was some more serious convo. We're talking about like abusive relationships, our past history with that, and like mental health in Hollywood.
Who's shit in whose bed?
I mean, and who likes having shit on their bed?
Wow. Eye-opening, so to speak.
Brown-eyed opening.
Damn it, you beat me
God.
to it. I was pursing my lips to make the D, and you said
You were pursing your lips with that brown eye.
brown eye.
But no, I had a good time. I got fucking COVID finally. No more fucking FOMO. I've been feeling left out. Like everyone keeps getting around me. It's been 2 fucking years. I'm like, I look at my watch, my non-existent watch. I'm like, come on, when is my turn? And then I didn't even know I got it. It was like I came home last Saturday night. Everything's fine. I was acting normal and stuff. Just like feeling hot. But I always do. Like Chris was like, you're hot today. I'm like, I'm always hot. She's like, no, like she's like a foot away from me. She's like, I'm sitting away from you because like, I feel the heat radiating. I was like, okay, let me check my temperature. I'm like 102 point something. I was like,
wow.
I guess I got a fever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll take Tylenol, I guess. I feel fine. And she's like, no, take a COVID test. I'm like, I didn't even think about COVID.
Right.
And then I was like, hella positive. You know that line? Not faint. It was like fucking someone took a Sharpie to that fucking test.
Yeah, you had COVID-19 plus.
Yes. 20. Shit.
You know, just on that subject, after we recorded the other night, it was a late night, and you know, I woke up next morning, had an awful sore throat and congested. I took a at-home COVID test. This is the first time I've actually taken one at home. You know, with the lines and whatnot, and I guess I just have a fucking head cold, and I haven't had one in so long.
People
I'm
have
just
them.
used to.
And I think we're going to be going on with that for years.
I don't even know how I got it because I don't know anyone else who has it. I don't leave the house. None of my coworkers have it. I wear my mask all the time. I still wear my mask when I go out because I don't like people to see my face.
Right.
So I don't know how I got it. Krista got it obviously from me because she started having symptoms like a couple days after me.
Okay.
But she's a completely different COVID.
Right,
She tested positive. She has like all like head condition stuff. Where mine's more like ththroat.
Dude,
Laura and
everybody differently.
Yeah, Laura and I think a lot of it.
I love it. It's like a fucking surprise.
You know, like a lot of the kind of stuff that's come out about it is how much your blood type affects it. You know, and like I don't even know what my blood type is, but you know, like, and I'll fuck it all up, but one of them deals with it the best, and one of them deals with the worst, and you know what I mean. And then there's like gradients in between. It's interesting shit to me.
Yeah, I mean it is.
Well, I'm glad you're okay, Joe. I'm glad I'm assuming Krista's okay as well.
Yeah. We're all good. I
Survived COVID.
She didn't. She kept working because she just worked from home anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got to stay home for a week, but like it's good. I enjoy it, but it's like I don't get paid if I go to work.
Yeah.
So like I went back to work as soon as I can. Module case should be here tomorrow.
What?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, fine.
When did you order this
I
Module kit?
don't fucking know.
Years?
I don't. 1 year maybe. I don't. I don't keep track. I order a shit and then like you tell me when I get.
Where are these going?
There's one where my is replacing the glass case with all the Bishojos because there's so many more Bishojos now.
Right.
And that space is perfect for a module case.
Okay.
Like standard size, just taller. And then the Nook upstairs.
Yeah.
I have one that fitted for that.
Nice.
So that should be
that's a nice spot for a module case.
And that should be done with just display cases in general. Now it's just like if shit fits, it fits. If it don't, I'm not getting it. Or throw away old shit.
Right.
Put it in an IKEA bag and give it a buck.
Churn.
Put it in an IKEA bag and give it to Bobby.
After watching Midnight Mass, I went back to watch the two other show that the same people made. It has a lot of the same actors. Like this is like the casting director has the easiest fucking job. They shouldn't have gotten paid. It's the same fucking people, and they have a show coming out later this year. Same fucking people.
It makes sense, right? Like if you have
Yeah,
a
but
good
why do you
positive
need it?
experience,
Yeah, that's
you're
true.
like, you know,
Like, the casting director should take
he's
a pay
easy
cut,
to work
though.
with. He's good at his job. He shows up on time.
Adam Sandler's been doing that for years.
Now he turned to a remote control that one time though. That was a little touch and go.
It's true.
But probably didn't have a casting director. It's probably just him picking people. Like,
Right.
you hire a casting director to hire the same fucking people you always hire. It's just like, but yeah, but they're good actors. All the returning actors are great. So it was Haunting of Bly Manor and Haunting of Hill House. They're both enjoyable. Not as good as Monday Mass to me. Krista likes one of them more, but they all deal with like death and loss. Maybe that's what makes it interesting to me, because they go through how different people. These are spooky ghost shows, right?
It's a spooky ghost.
It has to be
Did you see
aspects
it?
and stuff.
Spooky ghost.
Spooky.
That's the best shit, man. When that's Randy Marsh covered in all that sperm.
Yeah,
Oh.
Spooky ghost.
Did you see it? It's a spooky ghost. Dude, that shit is so good.
But yeah, they deal with like loss and like explored how people deal with loss, and I find that interesting, and how people with each other and in relationships and family. Like one of them is about a family of like 5 kids and how they dealt with a loss of either your mom was mentally ill or she was haunted. And if you try to watch it from the point of view of IRL in real life, you're like, well, yeah, we would assume that's mental illness,
Right.
But do people force the kids to view funerals? Is that a thing?
What do you mean view?
What do you mean
Like
view?
look at the dead body?
Oh, I don't
Like if,
Because there was a couple of scenes,
like walk up to it. Like,
Yeah.
No,
Look
I mean, I've never heard of that.
I don't know anybody who's forcing their kids.
yeah,
Or
like
do
coaxing.
you want to go say bye to grandma and walk? I mean,
You might be forced to go.
Yes.
to the event, but
Yeah,
to
yeah,
walk up to
but
the.
I would never.
Yeah, because there was a couple of scenes in there where like the parents were trying to like coax the kids, like you got to see grandma like
Right.
one last time, and then they had like a counselor try to coax the kid to like you're gonna regret this, and the kid's like, I don't want to see grandma's dead body, kind of thing,
Right.
And like I'm like, I wonder if that's actually a thing that people do.
Yeah, I don't
feel
know.
like that's almost like child abuse, man.
Yeah. I can't like when it comes to grief, man. Like it's a judgment free zone for me. Like whatever you need to do to
children.
get through that shit.
Like I get it, they might regret it later in life, but that's on them to regret it later.
Yeah, like-
versus traumatizing them to see it.
Yeah, I would never.
Okay.
Plus, like a lot of the times, like I remember my buddy Brutus, like his funeral was like so far after his death because his shitty ass dad was like in the islands on vacation and refused to come home.
Oh God!
Wow. So they're like, your son passed, and he's like, I mean, I'll be back in town on the 11th.
They say more than one kid?
No.
Wow. I was like, I got other ones too.
Yeah. And so like by the time that, I mean, obviously he's embalmed and all that shit, but by the time the funeral, it still was like, the dude looked way different.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, so like, I wouldn't even want my kid if they had been close to him. I would have been like, no, unless you really, really want to go, I suggest you do not look at this dude.
So both of you, like in your case of your children, you would, no matter who it was, you would never ask him to like.
No, I'll ask because like, do you want to go?
Do you want to?
Yeah, I'll offer.
Well, and
you would never even suggest that maybe you should.
I would say that. I might say that like my kids are very close with Laura's mom, like their grandma.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And I might say like, look, I might say something like, look, are you sure you don't want to go up there? You might regret this decision years later. But if they're like, no, I can't do it, I've been like, good. But I'm gonna make sure that they understand that this is it.
Yeah.
But I would never be like grab them by the back of their shirt. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck up. Say goodbye.
Kiss him on the lip.
This reminds me of something I forgot. I watched the show Atlanta I talked about, and they're doing these like this. There was a new episode of it I watched, and it has nothing to do with the show. It's this super waspy couple that has a kid.
I've heard about this.
About this episode. Okay, so it starts out like the husband's out jogging, comes home, the wife's sitting there with a kid, waiting on the I guess the nanny, sitter, whatever you want to call them, to get there. Well, they get a phone call that she's passed away. And she was from Trinidad and Tobago, which I learned in this episode. That's how you say it. You're not from Trinidad. You're from Trinidad and Tobago.
Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. So basically, they're like, trying to figure out how they're going to get on with their lives. End up going to drop her stuff off, and end up going to the funeral. And it's like there's people screaming and crying, and people are getting up talking about how impactful she's been to so many children. And then like one of her kids gets up and talks about how all her work stole her from raising her own kids, and like the kid is, I'm going to say like 6 or 7 maybe, but he's like knows all these songs and stuff. And this whole time there's this envelope that keeps getting delivered to their house addressed to the lady who's passed away. And he, takes it down to the doorman, and, it comes back. And finally, like the end of the episode, it comes back. It's been trampled on. Somebody's just pounding on the door. Get to the pad. He finally opens it, and it's like fucking Sears portrait studio of the nanny and the kid.
Only the Mills,
and that's how it ends.
Right, those pictures.
Yes.
But it processing grief and thinking about like you have this essentially a stranger raising your child.
Yeah,
it's pretty powerful stuff, man. That show was great on so many fucking levels, man.
When my buddy Mario passed, his wife had him cremated before any viewing, and like I wish I could have seen her. Like it fucks with me, and like not to. I mean, like they had a kid together and everything else, but like I'm like, man, like you weren't even close to him. Like I was close to him. Like, and I know that sounds terrible, but it's also a fact.
True.
And then, my grandmother like didn't have a funeral because she didn't want any fuss, but like as a result, I don't know, because it's the X factor, right? But I don't know if I could have dealt with it all a little bit more had there been something to like have this organized moment,
Right.
Whereas like instead it lingered for years and years and years. Like it's like, I don't know.
Makes sense.
Anything else, Joseph?
Yeah.
What do you got?
For anime night, we watched Belle. It's like a anime modern retelling of like Beauty and the Beast, having to do with being online personas.
Okay.
I think it's okay. Like there's good parts in it, but I don't think it was demographics for me. I think it's for a much younger audience. I think it's an anime actually for like preteens maybe. But if you have kids and you're looking for anime, it's a good one for kids. There's no weird stuff in it. It's more straightforward. Watch The Tick with
Like the old show?
No, a movie with Idris Elba and Apollo from fucking Eternals. It's okay. It's a standard heist-ish movie. Like the
So it's not like The Tick.
no, not The Tick.
Oh,
The Take.
In my mind, I was like, Idris Elba was The Tick? I would watch that. I don't know, man.
I would watch
He's a
that.
talented guy, but I don't know.
I could see him in a Tick suit, bro. I would watch Idris Elba as The Tick. Would you not watch Idris Elba as The Tick, bro?
I don't know. David Putty from
I got to see some trailers.
hopefully it's not on Netflix.
I can picture it in my head right now. He's got a sense of humor. Like, he does comedy well.
Should I tell her I have a good senses of humor?
I don't know. Take it or leave it. It's an action movie you might enjoy. Idris Elba's like a fucking rogue, like FBI type agent trying to stop terrorists, and like in order to help him, he's got to get this guy who's really good at pickpocketing.
Got to build the team.
Yes. Yeah, fun enough to watch. Watch Snake Eyes.
Be more specific about what Snake Eyes.
Not Nicolas Cage. Good Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes
G.I. Joe Origins.
Yes.
I don't even know why they call it G.I. Joe Origins, because it sounds like it's like Wolverine Origins, right? Wolverine Origins is attached to the X-Men universe. You think G.I. Joe Origins would be attached to the G.I. Joe movies that came out already, which is completely not, because it's a whole completely different character, different story.
Right.
He gets the same suit at the end.
At least he doesn't have a mouth. Remember the G.I. Joe movie? The Snake Eyes suit has a mouth?
Yeah.
Horrifying.
I mean, it's like Transformers. Power Rangers.
But it doesn't.
Power Rangers have mouths molded in.
I don't like that either.
Ugh, I don't like Power Rangers at all.
Hey, don't put mouths.
Power Rangers? No, you know. Power Rangers.
Yeah, Power Rangers.
Joe, don't put mouths in my G.I. Joe.
But it's not the same story. It's not about him being a white kid
No.
in the dojo, and it's not related whatsoever.
It's not.
And it's not good.
So objectively taking the G.I. Joe part out of it, you just didn't care for it at all.
A lot of the actions are good. Some of the characters are okay. They just threw Scarlet and Baroness in there for funsies, I think. And I don't think Baroness is hot enough to be Baroness.
They needed to fill out the the case of action figures, so they had to have more characters.
Scarlet was okay. I liked her. She seemed Scarlet-y. She looked Scarlet-y. Baroness was not.
Right.
She kind of get an attitude for it, but she's just like a Wish.com version of Baroness.
Did you have the accent?
Kind of. I can't.
It wasn't what you wanted it to be. But
I want that shit heavy on it.
Yeah.
No.
I want to turn the subtitles on.
I mean, I do that a lot for
You know what I'm
like just
saying?
British shows in general. British Bake Off. I just had a goddamn fucking.
I want to be like, oh, I can't understand the thing she's saying.
You don't want to sound like Cody?
No. She's like German, right?
I always took it as some Eastern Bloc.
Yeah.
You know,
Because it's Baron, like Baron Zemo. You think the cousins?
Her ability to reproduce doesn't have anything.
I think it's a zygote.
But I think it's another me thing. Same reason why after like 10 plus years of watching Naruto and loving it, I just turned it off one day and fucking hate it, and I always shit on it.
All right.
For me, it's when a character, whether in real life, a person, or in a piece of media,
A character.
there's a point of no return for me. Once somebody's crossed a certain line, I write them off as not protagonists anymore, or not someone I care for what happens to them. And if they ever have a redemption arc, I throw that shit out the window, because some people don't. I personally don't think everyone deserves a redemption. It's not like Spider-Man. Not everyone gets one.
Right.
The Snake Eyes.
Yes,
he crosses a line.
Yeah, he like it's 3 times in the movie where he just chooses the worst thing to do, and then towards the very end, he comes back to be the good guy, quote unquote good guy. But like by the time he did the last thing, I'm like, I'm done with you. Like, you don't get to be a good guy after this.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can see how that would.
Because you saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did
Like,
you see it on?
It's streaming on something.
streaming
now.
something. Prime, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, the first 2 things, like, okay, like you can see he's like got inner turmoil. He's like, I understand why he's doing the thing, and I can see why he chose the wrong thing. But by the last thing, it's just like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
So it's like that with Naruto when Sasuke decides.
How was the story?
How is the story?
So it's nothing. It's
It's
not
weird
related
because
to
it has some
anything you
supernatural
know.
aspect to it. It's got a rock that explodes people. Yes, exactly. I thought it was a metaphorical thing with like ancient Asian proverbs with special rocks. I thought the rocks had like a
Whatever do you mean, Joe?
you think the rock has like meaning, but as metaphor, but not as naturally exploding. They have the rock of the sun, the stone of the sun, with the power of the sun. You think it's like an internal power thing? No, it just has the power of the sun. It just explodes people.
Yeah.
Speaking of ancient Asians, I'm driving down Stevens Forest Road.
Where's this going?
I'm driving down Stevens Forest Road the other day. I see a split level house that's got 2 big ass lion statues. Them kind.
Yes, with a swirly hair.
Yeah, sitting to the left and right of this split level house. I was like, man, one of these things doesn't belong. Either the split level, or it couldn't look less Asian.
It might not be Asian people in there.
It may not be. It may not be.
Because
whoever the decorator is got one thing wrong.
That's a middle-aged white guy with samurai swords on the wall.
Yes, that guy.
Dude,
my lady.
Maybe he's. My lady.
I mean, I have some stone pagodas in my fucking yard.
I know. I've seen them.
We're not even that Asian.
Yeah, I know. I like it though. You guys are culture appropriating your own shit.
It's sort of okay. I like Storm Shadow.
Yeah.
I thought he did a good job as an actor. He was believable, and I thought he was good at acting, and I liked his role.
Well,
and he was understandable
There's a convoluted story about Snake Eye's dad being involved in
with the Joes.
and it's a bit much. I need to watch it again, to be honest. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's been a while since I
the
saw it.
action was good.
I'm gonna check it out. I am gonna check it out.
You gonna watch it?
No, I haven't seen it yet because
I mean, is you going to watch it?
Yeah. I like G.I. Joe. I'll watch it just to shit on it, like Transformers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fine. That's fair. Because there's some other stuff I recommend that you won't watch, and I say like for my standards, my standards, when I'm going to the movie just to enjoy myself,
Yeah.
I usually do.
Yeah.
And if I say it's not good, I'm surprised you're going to watch it.
So it's like there's a certain that shit ain't moving on you, is it?
He just stopped and stared at his Arizona iced tea can. Pinkerton.
I was just.
That was wild.
For the listeners, he picked up this Arizona iced tea can and then just got lost in that bitch for a second. I was just making sure it wasn't moving on him.
Yeah, he looked down and he just stopped. His whole body just
for some
stopped.
reason, the ingredients caught my eye because it's a premium brewed blend of green teas using filtered water. I'm like, that's a long ass fucking.
That is more interesting than steak ice.
Yeah, it's also great hot. Apparently, I don't know.
But there is stuff.
Who the fuck pours that shit out of a can and heat it up? That's cultural appropriation.
Nah, bro. Listen. You just crack the can, and put it in the boiling water, and it warms itself.
You can put it in the fucking bread oven.
But
God. Do you know how many fucking Instagram?
It's coming up today. It's coming up today.
You know how many fucking messages I got?
We got emails this week about it also.
I'm glad all y'all inherited fucking Emerson toaster ovens from your grandparents.
Dude, there's some people that don't even believe we're talking about the same thing. They're like, are you talking about this? They send in pictures, or are you talking about this?
Yeah.
It's language barrier, bro. But some people are sending me pictures of like some old shit from like the 80s. So I'm like, oh, you're a real one.
Emerson.
You're a real one. But anyway, the fucking, there are certain things that I try to watch just so when the conversation comes up, I can give my opinion.
Okay.
You know, so it's one of those things. It's one of those.
I assume they're gonna make more fucking G.I. Joes. No,
I don't. That movie did not do well.
I think the key to that shit is either one of two things. You go hyper realistic military, or you go hyper fantasy cult.
This was kind of like too in the middle.
You can't straddle the line.
I mean, I think there's a great story to be told about this down and out former, Marine or something that joins Cobra in the process of the brainwashing to get him. I mean, I don't know if they'd ever tell that story, but I think that'd be a captivating fucking story.
I think you got to lean in heavy one way or the other.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, there's so many fascinating stories like
the ninjas, bro. It's about the ninjas.
The comic book origin story of Cobra Commander is fucking great.
For all three movies, my favorite character in all three movies was the Storm Shadows.
I don't think the ninja thing is the answer. I'm going to be honest.
I don't think it is. But I'm just saying, it's the go-to.
Here we go.
It's the fucking go-to.
It is the go-to, and I don't think they're cool. They're awesome, but they don't represent G.I. Joe. They're like they're the side. They're the really good side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you have your steak and they're the potatoes. You know what I mean? Like they add this interesting sauce to it, but the main course has to be one of two things. You know, either this hyper gritty military operation or this like black ops unit that deals with this cult.
Yeah, they did too much. They tried to do the serious military thing with talking about terrorists, like stopping terrorists.
Yeah.
At the same time with this fucking rock that explodes people and like ninjas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm gonna watch it. What is the comic book origin of Cobra Commander? If you could do it in a nutshell.
He was a used car salesman down on his luck. And
I thought you said it was good.
It is. The way they tell the story, like he's got a son that's involved. I can't tell you.
I kind of like the Cobra Commander and the original G.I. Joe movies.
Once a man. I mean, there's none of that supernatural. The comic books seem to be a lot more grounded. Larry Hammer's right. Obviously, they had to shoehorn Serpentor in there. Just kind of threw all the realism out the door.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you got any of those snake boys.
I mean, the same thing. Like if you lean in the cult aspect, you can get into how they could resurrect this spirit of whatever to create this Frankenstein monster.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you can only do that if you play it that way.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
But I enjoyed the first two G.I. Joe movies more than I enjoyed this one.
I think I did too.
I thought those were fun romps.
Especially,
and I watched both of those more than once.
Especially the first one or the second one rather, because you get some Dwayne in it.
The Rock Johnson,
awful.
Rock the Dwayne Johnson.
All those movies are awful.
Wait, no, yeah, the first one was much better.
Hey, happy 50th birthday to The Rock, by the way. His birthday's this week.
Nice.
It's very important.
In 10 years.
Just because I think he's talentless doesn't mean I want him to die.
He ties so many lores together for me.
He certainly does.
What if it's actually a Dwayne The Rock Johnson multiverse where it's all tied together and he is the linchpin?
I enjoy his sitcom about his life. It's very entertaining.
It's new, right?
Yeah, it came out last year. The second season's on right now.
Oh, okay.
I've been watching it. I never think to mention it. It's really good.
And last day I watched Batman.
Okay.
I give it like a
Hang on.
C.
The Batman?
Yeah.
You know, I was going to watch it again, but something was in the way. So
that's just like a theme song, right?
Yeah.
It seems like it.
All that billions of dollars, you would think he could get a Spotify subscription or something. I agree. Is
there are like some good parts and some good characters, but not him.
I agree.
You don't like Pattinson in the role?
Not at all. As Batman or Bruce Wayne.
I agree.
Like I like, dude. Like I didn't go in with super high expectations, because I'm not a huge Batman fan to begin with.
Correct.
I'm watching it because like one of those things you got to watch.
Right?
Conversation, and I am interested. It is a nerd movie. There's cool aspects to Batman, even though I'm not a fan of the character. There's the cool aspects.
and you're a fan of plenty of Batman things.
Yes, I mean the animated series, the Nolan verse,
Right. Keaton.
yeah.
Kilmer?
Even Kilmer, even maybe Kilmer,
Clooney?
Probably the
Not
Arkham.
Clooney,
Probably the
definitely not
Arkham
Clooney.
games.
Alicia Silverstone for sure though.
Nipples.
Yeah, but she didn't have nipples, unfortunately.
Are you sure?
No, I love the Arkham games.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but that was a guess.
Yeah.
I thought she had nipples and were kind of off center. Like one went this way and one went that way.
Tara Reid.
Yeah.
You might say they were clueless.
They were. They were.
Nice.
I'll be here all day.
That's a good one. That was a good one. I mean, I already started to dislike it at the narration.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, who is this self-indulgent emo fuck who's super into himself, man? I don't need this Batman. Talking about,
So I don't know if you
like,
know
I understand when
that.
you're talking to like villains with I am vengeance and shit, like to like scare them and stuff, and you're talking to yourself in your own head, like I am vengeance. I'm like, no, bro, you get over yourself. You're a rich kid.
What that you didn't like him?
I started not to like it already.
What else? What else? Give me some other pros and cons, because I agree with you. I didn't like him either.
I already a strong dislike by the point he first shows up, like when he's coming to like save the Asian guy, I guess,
And he fights the clowns.
Yeah. I'm like, bro, like you're too into yours. Like,
I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
Are there any other things? Because I'm with you. I don't like him
and
either.
to my increased dislike on the narration to a strong dislike when Batman first show up to a completely distaste of the whole concept by the time at the end of the first Alfred scene. I just don't like him as a character. This version of Batman or Bruce Wayne.
Really shitty to Alfred. You're not my father. Well, no shit, motherfucker. I ain't been your father the whole time. Don't be a dick. That's what Alfred should have said.
So
And everyone's trying to tell me, this is your responsibility, this is your legacy. It's like, no, this is my legacy. I'm like, okay, bro.
So I
Will you quit playing that goddamn song?
You're a fucking
That's not
idiot.
your legacy.
He's a fucking idiot. This Bruce Wayne is a fucking moron.
So
And how is dealing with his life.
in dealing with his life, I agree. But like I do stand by. I do like that I got to see the detective stuff.
Yes, I do. I did
that's
enjoy
what I'm saying.
that a lot.
That's and I like the Riddler a lot.
Yeah, I did too, and I didn't think I was going to, and I did.
And I like that they went full mental illness.
Yeah, I
that
did
guy was like, oh, he's
nuts.
He's in Arkham.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yes.
He's not just a bad guy who's really smart.
Yeah.
No, he got issues.
Yeah. Plus,
You know,
did you see his vest? It keeps him safe when he's jogging at night. Oh, we're talking about a different movie.
I think in this movie, more than anything, I think you see the fragile ego of Bruce Wayne and the fragile mental state. I mean, you've got to literally be damn near insane to do what he does.
Well, I
anyways.
think Batman is insane.
Yeah,
he's
and I
not
think
a
this is a
good
great
guy,
example of.
But see, I don't know. But I don't know if I think that it's this though. It's not sad. He's not like a sad panda.
He kind of is.
emo.
He's not.
He's the emo.
See the hair
emo
in his
and sad
eyes,
is not the
bro?
same.
No.
He's sad.
Yeah, no. He's sad in this movie. He's sad as fuck. I'm saying like the character himself isn't sad. It's the problem is that he can't deal with the sadness.
Right. So he becomes a homicidal maniac.
Angry.
Well,
Not homicidal, but a maniac.
But yes.
I mean, that's how I deal with shit in real life. And when I start to get sad, I turn into angry instead because it's much easier to deal with angry than it is to deal with sad.
Yeah, then that's him.
Yeah.
And he's so detached from having to deal with that real life trauma that he has become something else. And I don't think it grabs it. Yeah,
and this is supposed to be year 2, so like that's kind of excusable. Like, and you only know that if you fucking are actually paying attention to the screen when he's just fucking Gotham Project year 2 or wherever the fuck.
Yeah.
And I think he was shitty with Alfred too. But I do like that scene where he thinks that Alfred's dead and Alfred wakes up and he's like, "You lied," because that struck me as Batman, where like the mission supersedes everything. It's more important than how good you've been to me. It's more important than how shitty I've been to you.
Yeah.
You fucking lied. Like
That's what makes him a shitty person.
Well, he's not a good person.
Yeah, I know.
You know, yeah.
Tell all these other motherfucking Batman fanboys that he's not a good person.
Yeah, if you think Batman's a good person, you don't understand the
You're
character.
missing the fucking character. And a lot of people
He says it himself.
Yeah.
They say, why there's I think it's in Hush. They're like, why can't Superman beat you? And he's like, because deep down in his soul, Clark is a good person.
Right.
And deep down in mine, I'm not. Like he says it.
Yeah.
He's not a good person. But that the reason why is because he's never got to be a fucking person since he was 8.
Right.
He's become this other thing. That's what makes him crazy also.
I mean, yeah, he started being crazy. You know?
Yeah. He lost it.
Mental illness thing.
Dude, there's this comic, I talk about it all the time. There's this comic, it's called Supergirls, written by Jeff Loeb. It's a Superman-Batman book. Superman and Batman are both reminiscing about the first time they met each other, but privately. They're not talking to each other about it because that'd be fucking weird, right? Yeah. But they're both kind of like at their own corners reminiscing about it. And Alfred is taking Bruce across country to get him out of Gotham because he thinks it'd be good for his psyche to give that boy a break from the city, right? To the place where his parents were killed.
No, and this is in his youth. This is
yes,
happening?
He's 8 years old.
I think I might have read this, but go ahead.
So they're driving. Alfred gets a flat tire where? Smallville.
Oh, no way.
So they pull off to the side of the road. Alfred gets out the donut like Gomez to fix his fucking tire, right?
Yeah.
And Clark is playing baseball in the field next to it. And Jimmy Olsen's throwing him the ball, right? And every time he throws him the ball, Clark is fucking knocking it from here to Kingdom Come. And Jimmy's like, look, that's it. I'm not getting it anymore. You want it, you go get it. You're fucking hitting this thing too far, right? And they're both thinking... Clark is like, I remember the first time I saw him. That's Clark's words, right? And then you hear Batman's words. I'll never forget the first time I had to see him. You know, like the way they're both remembering it in their own way. And he's like, Superman's like, I'll never forget it. And Batman's like, I can't forget it. And on. And then Jimmy Olsen's like, they see him sitting in the back of the car all fucked up, you know, like just depressed and broken. And Jimmy Olsen's like, hey, do you want to see if that kid wants to play while his father's changing the tire? And Batman is thinking to himself, I often wish they would have asked me to play. Yeah. You know, and Superman is like, Clark's response to Jimmy Olsen is, I don't think that boy plays games. And then Superman is remembering it as, I often wished I would have asked him to play if maybe it would have made a difference. And then Batman's response internally is, but by that point my life had changed and I had no time for games. And that's at 8 years old. It's Selena. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's where his psychosis was. Like, and I think that like, and I honestly think that even to this day, you know, live action wise, the Nolanverse still captures that element of him being detached from the Bruce Wayne persona best.
Yeah.
You know,
you can see when it's
yeah.
Like I think maybe times has changed. Maybe also like just having more life experience it's bad to see your parents get shot in front of you, right?
I would imagine.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Well, my mom, I'm
not saying it's not that bad. It's like not the way Batman makes it out to be. I know a lot more tragic shit that happens to you than him using that excuse to have his whole fucking life the way it is.
No, but see, I think you're looking at it wrong. He's not using it as an excuse. The trauma is, that's the thing. You can't tell a person how to respond to their trauma.
That is true, and I'm just saying, because I know worse things happen to people.
This
right?
guy was
that
given everything. He was given everything.
Why are you fucking being this little bitch, man? Come on.
He was given. You're not talking about anybody that had to struggle. You're talking about the son of Elon Musk. You're talking about this billionaire prodigy that never had to want for anything, that never had to miss anything, that never had to feel defeat ever, because you could buy victory at every fucking turn, and then in one night everything is taken from you that you've known. And like, it's like I felt bad for the man with no shoes till I met the man with no feet. But having no shoes, if that's all you've known, sucks. You can't tell. You can't say like.
I'm not saying it's not bad if you're shot in front of you. I'm just saying like the response to that just seems like.
But I can't
beyond. I don't know.
It's the same thing.
Takes me out of suspense of disbelief at that point.
See, I totally get it, man. I find in life most people that I know that have never had to want for much have the hardest time dealing with adversity. That's how I see that. It's like, that's pretty big. It's not the worst. It's not the worst, but it's probably in top 5.
No, it's really bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like the response is like not like the action to reaction. It just doesn't mesh in my head, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. That works for me, but for once again, it's like you can't. I've seen I've seen things that to me have been like I've seen things that have been to me minute to a point where I got to get a microscope out to see the damage really fuck with people. You know, so like this one, at least I'm like, oh yeah, well, I mean, it's fucking parents shot in cold blood.
I do like that.
The kid's been fucking swimming in pearls for the past 40 years.
It wouldn't make sense though if there is a history of mental illness, which this Batman does.
Yeah,
because his mom is like was an Arkham,
Right.
so that makes it more believable. Like he already is predisposed to like being a little fucking nutty. So this set him off the deep end. That's more believable to me than an average 8-year-old reacting.
I don't know, man. There's plenty of guys that have a fine life that go to war when they're 18 and they got to deal with some life and death circumstances and come back and they're never right.
At 8 years old, like I don't know if one has a maturity to become Batman at 8 years old.
Yeah, well, he didn't become Batman at 8.
I know, but like he I mean,
it just put him down that path. The problem is that he didn't have the maturity to deal with it.
And I think part of it is the pressure that probably that 8-year-old had from the world, because you know, it's just like Tupac, all eyes on me, right? You see how that ended, right? So I think there was a lot of expectation for him to be, you know, I mean, even the mayor at the gala or whatever was like, I want to talk to you. You ain't doing shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's get together.
Do some shit.
But I'm going to get shot and no sell it. But after that's over.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
what about Catwoman?
I thought she was, I don't know if she reads to me as like, not as a Catwoman.
I'm with you, man.
Right?
I'm with you.
I like the character.
Yeah.
She's cool.
But it
doesn't feel like Catwoman. But if it's Catwoman year, like 1 month,
right.
a month, Catwoman month 1, right? Basically.
Right.
So I can see that. But yeah. Again, I can't speak for much because I'm not well versed into Batman. But of what I think about Catwoman, that's not quite it.
No, I agree. What about the Joker scene? Did we need it?
No.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, like, I don't need it. I get why they threw it in there. It could have completely skipped it and it wouldn't change the movie. And as a matter of fact, it made it a little bit goofy for me because he seems a bit goofy.
I agree. From a design standpoint, how did you like, from what you could see, which was limited, but how did you like the design of the Joker?
The idea of it was good, but it read off as goofy.
See, I did like the design because I do like this idea of like the toxic thing that gnarled your face into kind of a thing it's not a smile, but it's got smile tendencies.
And there's
a grimace.
There's an extended scene of that on YouTube.
Okay,
it's worth watching.
Okay.
It's like 6-7 minutes.
So like, no, I like the idea of it, but I'm not sure if it was executed properly. It was maybe too rough for me.
That's fair. I'm trying to think if there was anything else.
I like Gordon.
Dude, I love Gordon. I think that guy does a great job.
Yeah. I love that actor.
Yeah. I like Gordon. I like that Gordon.
Yeah, he never really.
I like his relationship with Batman. Kind of, yeah.
Oh, I love the whole what the hell is he doing here bit. I just thought that was.
But you know what? I think I might have. I think that I'm trying to be objective. Because I didn't like Gordon in the Snyderverse a whole lot either. I'm wondering if. You know, once you put Gary Oldman in some sauce for me, I'm wondering what I like. Yeah.
It's never going to be Gary Oldman.
Yeah, but don't say that. Anything else, Joseph?
That's it. As far as I can remember. Did I say I watched Critical Role? I think I said it. Did I say that?
Critical Role?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I watched Critical Role finally. It's the cartoon, the animated show of the live D&D show that I watch, and it that I kickstarted, like helped kickstarted.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, that's like the most fastest growing Kickstarter in history at that point, anyway. And it's everything I wanted it to be. I can't wait for season 2.
That's awesome.
So I watched the movie by Guy Ritchie called Snatch with Jaina.
Oh boy. Did you have to turn on the subtitles?
No, and you know what? She fucking loved it.
Good.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it is. But, you know, for a person that sometimes seems to have zero interest in live action, like, she didn't... I'm fascinated by her taste sometimes, just because, like, you know, we'll watch plenty of sci-fi-ish things that's kind of closer in genre to her anime taste, and she won't have any real interest. But like Silence of the Lambs or Snatch, and she like attaches to almost immediately.
I think it may just be that it's so different. Like those characters are so, those gypsies that they're just fucking wild, and it's great. It's almost, dare I say this, they're so over the top. It's almost like an anime presentation of those characters.
I mean, it is. Yeah, they're pretty.
And I could see how somebody watches a ton of anime, just like watching people have a dialogue is very fucking boring.
That fucking dialogue is so goddamn sharp.
Mm-hmm. Like, I need to watch that.
That's what he's known for, I think, right?
Yeah. But I love, like, there's so many little like things that just if you're not laughing, you know what I mean? Like, but I love when Bullet Tooth Tony loves that dude's tie and then brings his tie and rolls the window up and starts driving.
Yes.
He's like, Seamus, that tie's got you into this pickle. But yeah, it was great. I haven't seen it in years. And Jane and I were like just like laughing, like hitting each other, laughing so hard. Like it was a great experience for the two of us. Did I tell last week, I can't remember, playing that game about the trains? Ticket to Ride is what it's called.
I don't believe so.
So there's this game that they have. It's a board game, and I quite enjoy it. It's got a little bit of strategy to it, but it's definitely like a kid's game. It's called Ticket to Ride, and like you get a certain amount of color coordinated cards, CCCs, if you will, and they and you have a map, and you're trying to get these trains, you get these tickets, and you're trying to get from Winnipeg to Minnesota or whatever. But when you lay the trains down, you occupy a space, and now somebody can't use that space. Now, some routes have multiple tracks and whatever, but sometimes you could just put down a train that you have no interest in getting to that destination, but you just know it's going to fuck up what they're working on, so you can just occupy that space, and now you fuck their game up, right? So there's a little bit of strategy to it. We've been playing it all. But it's like Selena can play it, Jana can play it, I can play it, Laura can obviously play it, but the baby's not quite ready for it, right? So she's on a team with Laura, and she has all these, she's in charge of the train pieces, like the little plastic train pieces, but she's fucking them off 100%. So like she's making her little games with them. She's got some under the pillow over here, some are sitting under the couch, some are like, all this shit. And we keep telling her throughout the whole game, right? We're like, you can't have them all over the place. Pile them into a pile. Pile them into a pile. She's like, okay. And then she'll just fuck them all off again. We're like, you can't have them all over the place. So at the very end, Laura's one train short.
Oh, no.
And she's like, where's the train? Leia, where's the train? And Leia looks to her left real quick, looks to her right real quick, and then goes, somebody stole it.
She's such a character, man.
That shit fucked me up. I read Superman Year One that you saw up on my. I finished reading that. It's okay.
All right.
There's some interesting parts to it. I was interested in it because it was a Frank Miller Superman story.
Yeah, that's what caught my eye. And the art, I like Romita Jr.
Yeah, Romita Jr. did the art, and the art is good, and it's just like it's a little disjointed. Like it's like kind of like. I see what they're going for. Obviously, they're trying to tell these like three small stories. Like one is about his like childhood in Smallville. Mm-hmm. One is about like he in this kind of universe he joins the military at 18, which kind of makes sense. And there's that whole experience, which is kind of interesting. And then his kind of first year in Metropolis. But I feel like I was sold a little bit of wolf tickets on it because it says Superman Year One.
Yeah.
So all I really want is the first Superman Year One story.
Yeah.
But that being said, all things being equal, the thing that I found most interesting about it was Frank Miller really leans into the constant state of reserve that Clark has to be in.
Right.
Of like, pushing this button, but not too hard, grabbing this soda, but not too hard. You'll give it away. Don't like open the top off of this, but not too hard. You'll crack it into a billion pieces and you'll give it away. Like this constant state of having to be in control.
To be at 10% at all times.
At all times. And to start that at such a young age. And that's why he's able to keep such his composure by the time he's in his 20s.
Discipline.
And that's an interesting look at that character.
And I think maybe that's a good point. I think maybe that reserve comes across as off-putting when he is Superman. Mm-hmm. Like think about
the general mass.
Think about in BVS when he's walking into the chamber where the bomb's going to go off, and he's just got this obviously, now that you say that's a great point, that's a great takeaway. The dude's just really just like trying to do 10%.
Yeah.
You know? The one time it would really suck is if he really had to pee and he goes in the bathroom and he just fucking pisses a hole through the fucking building.
So at one point, some girl he's with, it may have even been Lois, I can't remember. Some girl that he's with like drowns, and he's trying to give her mouth to mouth, and even with that, he's like, "Don't
explode her fucking lungs."
Yeah, exactly. Like just give her a little bit. Like you can't blow hard, so to speak, into this girl's mouth because you're gonna fucking obliterate her,
right?
You know, and that it was just an interesting kind of because it's a constant theme throughout it, and that was kind of curious. And then the only other thing is I'm watching a show on Hulu called Impeachment. It's about obviously it's about Bill Clinton's and Monica Lewinsky's bit. And
I got a bill in my mouth like I'm Hillary Rodham. You know what that's from?
No. 3-6.
Oh, actually, it's from Grills, the Nelly song Grills.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what's also funny about that is like up here in my circle of friends for probably 10 years or so, the term Bill, based on Bill Clinton, became a slang term for dick. So like,
I think that's kind of what that means. It's talking about.
Well, I think he's saying I got a bill in my mouth, like the amount of money he's got.
I know, but then he's saying a bill in my mouth.
Right,
like
right.
Hillary Rodham.
Right. But I'm saying, like, for us, it's just you got a dick in your mouth. But which is side note, I was working for social services. I worked there for a year. I fucking hated it. Only job I've ever had to use my college degree for. Least paying job of my life, and the only time I've been miserable in the workforce.
It's American Dream.
American Dream. So anyway, the person who taught us how to do our job, I was an income maintenance specialist. Joe, you might have heard of us. But we basically interviewed people to see if they applied for food stamps, medical assistance, or temporary cash assistance, which is like the welfare of Maryland. We don't have welfare in the real sense, or the kind of socio-political, stereotypical sense. So I would interview people, right? And they would talk about how to like handle like people's bills and stuff. And so like I had a flip phone at the time, but they had a little record feature on there, and I was recording it, and I was like, and I was just trying to get her to say the most awful shit, like in terms of like my friends and stuff. So I was like, so what do we do if it, doesn't meet the amount that blah, blah, blah? She'd be like, oh, then you gotta eat the bill. I'm like, you gotta eat the whole bill? And she's like, yeah, eat I was like, put the whole bill in your mouth and just eat it. She's like,
my God.
And I'm like, and then I'm like putting it under the table and sending it to all my friends and then putting it back. Anyway. But yeah, the show's great. It's shot well. It's acted well. It's interesting because there's a lot of like kind of like DC Arlington culture as far as like working in what little facility and what means what, and it's so I'm only 2 episodes in, but I'm loving it so far.
Is this the one that Monica Lewinsky's an executive producer on or something?
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
I may have my wires crossed on that.
It sounds like it could be, and that's it. So we have a little bit of notes. First and foremost, rest in peace to Neal Adams.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the only note for this week. Rest in peace to Neal Adams. Died at the age of 80. For those that don't know, my Neal Adams books collections are upstairs. But there's 2 people responsible for giving Batman his balls back. One is Frank Miller, and one is Neal Adams.
Yeah.
And without those 2 gentlemen, we don't have Batman we don't have Batman the Animated Series. We don't have 89 Keaton. We don't have any of this shit. They helped redefine that character. I've met him multiple times. True fucking gentleman.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I met him kind of on accident once. We were at BCC Baltimore.
Yep.
He always had a huge booth. All his friends. And I was just like looking at the art, and I didn't even fucking see. He was sitting there. And I was like, hey, how you doing? And he's like, hey, just kind of casual banter back. And I didn't even fucking realize, like, oh, goddamn, that's, I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah.
But super nice dude. I mean, that limited interaction. Every
time. Like, I remember, it's Neal fucking Adams. And I remember when we first started Nerd Rage, we like went around to like try to meet people to do like little bits on camera. Like, there was people that had like some freak of the week ass book that was out and were like, nah, I don't think so. And Neal Adams, this fucking legendary god of comics, was like, yeah, what do you guys want? I'm down to help, if it'll help you guys.
Great.
And, like, he's just that dude. Like, so rest in peace. And then we have questions. Hold on one second while I get these up. All right, so here we go, and no super long questions this week. I have checked, but this is from.
Why don't you tell them real quick where they can?
Oh yeah, of course. If you would like to ask us a question, just
You can email us at nerdrageradiomail@gmail.com.
That was hard.
Yeah. So this is from Fighting Rabbit. Ignorance and fun question. What's up, Spell Boys? First off, thanks for being the highlight of my week for so many of us listeners. I always look forward to Tuesday and Wednesday because of you guys. Okay, so question 1. I live in Florida, Daytona Beach to be exact, and man, some of the ignorant stuff I hear from coworkers almost every day is incredible. Thanks to a lot of recent current events, I got to hear more homophobia and casual racism than usual. I try to just ignore it because I have to work with these people, but damn. So my question is, how often do you guys have to deal with workplace ignorance, and how do you deal with it? Thanks in advance. That's question 1. So I'll start like just to set the groundwork. I'm going to share a story, and I hope I'm not offending anyone or putting out any information that's not meant to be shared publicly. So I'm going to leave names out of it. There is a person that has transitioned from male to female, and she is coming to my house soon. And she hit me up and asked if it was still cool that she came, based on her transition, based on my children, based on all these things. And my answer to that to her was absolutely, as long as you are okay with still, I have not transitioned. Basically, do you know what I mean?
Or changed or grown up at all. Hey, I love you, Bobby, but let's not mix words.
Bobby.
So I used, when you would come over years ago, I would make jokes about things regarding you then. Mm-hmm. And I might make some jokes about things that are regarding you now. Because I have not changed. But neither has my respect for you. My respect hasn't changed. I'm just still the same dude. And as long as you haven't changed or have expected me to have changed in some way, outside of the obvious changes, of course, but character-wise, then we're cool. Absolutely cool. See, my thing is like, just to say that, because I don't know what he's talking about, right? Because I'm not going to his job, et cetera, et cetera. You can always tell I'm not a super like sensitive person about that shit. Like if people have gay jokes, trans jokes, race jokes about me, about others, about people that whatever, like you can, for me, I feel like I am socially adept enough where I can maneuver through that space and I know what's malicious. I know what intention has hate behind it, which is a totally different vibe than jokes. Like the thing is like most jokes between my friends revolve around things that make us different.
Right.
That could be from the color of your skin.
Look at me.
To the
Stare directly into my eyes.
That could be from the color of your skin.
I got it now too.
To the type of car you drive. Mm-hmm. You know, like or if you have a donut on your car.
How's that Civic?
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you stand up to wipe your ass.
Exactly.
God damn it, Joe.
So like
stand with standing standards.
So I will say I don't really come in contact with a lot of what I consider to be real homophobic or racist comments. However, I come in contact with that shit all the time that many others might outside of my world consider to be that. Mm-hmm. But I can give you I can give you 2 examples of times where I have corrected it, just to try to answer the question. There's a guy who I didn't know that well. It was when Facebook first started changing their algorithm where you could start seeing people comment on other people's shit, if you weren't following other people's shit, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know this dude. Nobody really knew him. He didn't work with us. He just worked in the same field-esque. And even work is a relative term. This is years and years and years ago. He used the N-word in a post.
Oh, wow.
I responded to it, which I wouldn't even do now because I'd be too afraid to even have my name tied to it in any way, shape, or form. But I responded to it and I said, "What the fuck?" and just let it sit. This person came up to me and was like, this is weeks later, and was like, "Hey, just to let you know, I didn't mean anything by that comment." And I was like, "Well, whether you meant it, like whether you mean it, it means something to me."
Yeah.
I was like, there's people that I work with here directly that you work with. And now I'm going to think in my mind, that's how you see them. There's people that my kids call uncle. And now in my mind, you're calling their uncle that. So I can never fuck with you again. He ended up quitting.
Wow.
And moved.
Good.
Now that's like a clear cut.
That's clear
cut, right? I feel like it's rarely clear cut.
Yeah.
Like I say this all the time when I have race conversations, like with EM Tyler and whatever. Like I probably could count on one hand the amount of times I've ever really heard the N word said. I don't mean from my playlist. Do you know what I mean? But I mean really said.
Yeah. Keep the body count low.
Exactly. But like that was one of them. Now here's one that was a little less. That. I was somewhere in a conversation where they were talking about basically affirmative action, but not necessarily by that name. But going out of your way to diversify a workforce, and they didn't say anything racist, but there was something about the way that they were saying it that I was like, there might be some racist sauce in here somewhere. And I just said and he said one of the things he said is, I just hate when people use their genetics as a crutch. And then I said, I hate, I'll be honest, I hate excuses in general. And I said, but didn't you open up with someone you knew was a qualified white male and didn't get the job because of diversity? So aren't you using that as a crutch for why he didn't get hired? And he just looked at me.
Good point.
And I said, look, man, my thought on all of this stuff is we're a lot more alike than we are different. And we like to see ourselves as the victim or the hero. You know what I mean? And maybe not just that we just maybe weren't the best choice. Yeah. So I try to deal with it when it's not malicious, but I feel like there might be some tones to it. I try to deal with it in a more like exposing way, not exposing them, but exposing a different point of view. Perhaps.
Open the mind up a little bit, open the eyes.
When it's hate, then I have to stand for something. Yeah, because I have to stand for something. Right.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I mean, coworker wise, recently he was fired, but I have an ignorant motherfucker that I just ignore because he's not over the top racist or sexist or stuff, but he's just one of those like conspiracy theorist type guys, like COVID's not real type fucking deal, and he worked in a pharmacy. So like
that's wild.
Is like there's no correcting it. Like usually when I talk to somebody, it's like you. There's either a correcting or like opening your eyes. Like my older white manager who has some weird thoughts sometimes. I'm like, think about it this way instead, because like. It's ignorance versus hate, right? Because sometimes people are brought up a certain way, and they might have some ignorant views. If there's hate, there's flat out no. Like that time that one guy who wouldn't take money from my black cashier at work, like that's no,
right?
Like I don't need to talk to you. Correct. It's just no,
correct.
But yeah, like I said, I have two coworkers at one of my jobs. So one was fired now because he's just an ignorant fuck, and I tuned him out.
I mean, was he fired for a cause for something like that, or was it just like
just over the time, just a job performance overall, just ignorance over the years? I tried to rein him in when he starts talking to customers who are captive audiences. Basically, he loves fucking just chatting people up, and he starts going off the deep end. If he keeps going, he will go off, and I'll have to like rein him in. But my other guy, the white guy manager, older gentleman, I have conversations with him sometimes just to like, hey man,
perspective.
Yeah, perspective.
Yeah,
and he receives it well. He's like, good. Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think. Yeah, saying things obviously is awful, but if you're willing to listen and maybe change your outlook, I think it says a lot about people. My work situation is different because I work remotely. I don't interact with people that I work with other than Zoom calls and telephones and stuff. But I've got a couple guys on our greater team here that I say some things, and it's exactly what you said, Joe. It's ignorance.
Yeah.
And a lot of it had to do with the situation over the past couple of years, whether political or socio-economic or whatever. And it's just like, I mean, I say something back in, because they're not saying anything that's harmful to anybody other than really themselves. It's not racist. That this is more of, it was about COVID. I think that put a fucking stake in the ground and broke up a lot of people.
Well, I also think it happened during a time where everyone wanted to put a stake in the ground about anything. Everything got politicized,
Yeah.
He did have a second question. He said, there's always mentions of drill music on the pod, and I was wondering
only when Bobby's on, which is I guess every episode.
Transformers do you think listen to drill?
The Stunticons. That's why they're so mad all the time.
And maybe the Dinobots.
Don't let the Dinobots listen to drill music. They're awful enough without the assistant.
I think they were just like the sound of the and have no idea what they're talking about.
And Swerve the guy with the Swerve listens to drill.
Yes,
and that's all he fucking talks about.
You're right.
There's your title. Swerve listens.
I think Blaster's more likely to listen to drill than Soundwave.
I think Blaster listens.
So I agree.
I think Blaster listens to nothing but like fucking boom bap, fucking 80s rap music.
Yeah, that is what seems most appropriate.
I think Soundwave plays classical on his own time.
He does.
On its own time, yeah.
Or maybe even jazz. Something instrumental.
Yes. Something sophisticated.
Yeah. So this from Joe S. Hey, nerders. A lot of long, complicated questions last week. So here's a palette cleanser. What's your favorite color?
Black, if you count it as black, a color.
Right. Yeah, mine too.
Technically, it's not itself a color.
You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
It's off the rails. Gray.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I forgot.
That's why I paint all my dioramas
gray. Has like I like neutral colors like black, gray, and white. But like gray has been really creeping up there.
What we're all wearing today: black and gray. Right?
Yeah,
and red. That's all I wear. Yeah. Red is the only real color I like. But like gray might be like. Have you?
Like this color gray.
Have you ever fucking like attached some kind of attribute to your identity and then you're afraid to change it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always loved black and I always fucking stand black. Oh shit.
Shaving my head.
But now I'm like starting to realize black might not be my favorite color and that scares me.
Oh wow. What do you think it is?
Gray. Yeah.
It's a little peak of light.
But like I feel like it might change me fundamentally as a person to admit that. So I have not.
Just wait till your hair goes gray, and then it'll obviously just.
He says, P.S. in response to asking last week why my wife had a concussion, she hit her head hard on a low door frame, showing the movers around our old house. Within 20 minutes, she had enough concussion symptoms that she had to be taken by ambulance to the ER.
Wow!
I had to stay with the movers. I felt like shit not being able to be there with her.
I know the vibes of hitting your head on a low door frame. Trust me.
So yeah, that's about. I hope I didn't say anything disrespectful. I was gone.
Bumping your head is humans are weird, man. You can fall out of a 3-story building and be fine, or like I had a guy who like was sitting on like a air conditioning unit, which is like 3 feet off the ground, fell off and broke his fucking leg, and like people bump their heads all the fucking time, right?
Yeah.
But like I'll say this, I knew a guy personally. I knew a guy who fucking got up, bumped his head on a ladder that was sticking out of his work truck, died a few weeks later from fucking blood shit in his brain. It's
crazy.
So Josh G wrote back to apparently he asked a question last week and it got off the rails.
We're sorry, Josh. Surprise. This was not the rail keeping episode last.
He said, and I felt bad reading this. He said, I wrote in last week and my question somehow morphed into giving me dating advice.
I don't remember what the
Me neither, which makes it even more scary. He said, I was trying to keep it short, and in doing so, it may have come across confusing. Apologies for that. This is the one long email, but I figured he deserved it. I was saying that I've been very good friends with a female for about 3 years now. Her and I share a lot of similar interests, mainly smallmouth and pike fishing tournaments. She's also very good to my autistic son. I want to make it clear that I do not have any romantic interest in her. We tried that. I felt no spark, and I ended it quickly for the sake of not damaging our friendship. How mature. About six or so months ago, she started dating someone else. Normally, I mind my own business when it comes to her dating life, but about 3 months ago, through a coincidence, I discovered that her boyfriend is on the registry and was convicted 20 years ago for a first-degree sexual assault of a child. In my state, a child is defined as under 13 years old. Oof. My friend is in her mid-30s and her boyfriend is in his mid-50s. That puts him around mid-30s at the time of his conviction. I spoke to her.
Great age gap, I guess.
I spoke to her about this and told her I was uncomfortable hanging around with someone who thought it was okay to date someone with this conviction. I thought it demonstrates extremely poor judgment and character on her part.
Oh, she knows too. Okay.
She seemed to agree because she said she was going to drop him. That hasn't happened in 3 months since we spoke about it. I haven't spoken with her except for a couple of texts she sent me, which I answered. So not to be rude, but I made them very brief. Also, I think the relationship will inevitably end, and I'm not sure I'm willing to welcome her back with open arms. Do you guys think I'm overreacting? How do you feel about this, and what would you do in my situation?
You're not the asshole. That's what he led with last week. Am I the asshole? You're not the asshole.
No, like I said earlier, there are some things you don't redeem from. There's some lines you cross and you're done. That guy crossed that line, he's done.
And I'll be honest, her willing to accept that?
Yeah, no, that says a lot about her too.
I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just saying that this seems, all of the evidence here seems very damning, right?
Yes.
13 or under, first degree.
Yes.
But I just want to go on record and say I still don't know what that means.
Okay.
I don't know what first degree sexual assault means in his state. Like,
if you peed in front of someone who's 13 years old, then, and if that counts, then
by
yes.
accident, and I'm not saying that that's what they did.
Yeah.
But I had a good friend of mine that ended up on the sex offender list for something completely out of his control, and it ruined his life, and he eventually committed suicide over it.
Yeah.
So like,
it depends on what.
If he's a monster,
yeah,
then you're not wrong for putting your stake in the sand and saying, I'm not going to be affiliated with monsters or people that condone monstrous acts. Mm-hmm. That's a matter of character and principle, and you're well within your rights to do so. It's sad, but you're well within your rights to do so. But without knowing the details, I think it's always worth
on the registry what people did.
I don't know.
It says basically that what the conviction was.
Right, what the charge, like first degree.
Yeah, but it doesn't say what.
It doesn't give
the details.
No,
That's
it
rough.
doesn't.
So,
I mean, honestly,
But you can probably find that out. It's public record, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know how deep you can dig there. I would have a conversation with her and explain it again. Like, look, I can't be around. I can't be friends with you if this is what you're willing to accept in your life.
Or also figure out what the story is.
Right.
Ask her if she's had that conversation with him, and maybe after hearing it, you're like, okay, well that doesn't sound monstrous. That sounds unfortunate, or that or whatever the case may be. I don't think that you have to forgive anyone. Like, once again, much like Batman, and you can't tell him how to deal with his trauma.
Yeah.
You can't tell somebody else how to respond to. You know what I mean? Like you can't be held to a standard of having to respond a certain way because people that you care about want you to respond that way.
Yeah.
You're within your rights to respond however the fuck you want, as long as you're good with that.
Exactly.
I hope that was a much more
thanks for giving us a second chance to make a first impression.
We got redemption.
That's right.
Blaster wrote in with some ideas for our Key Grip podcast.
Oh, nice.
Getting a good grip.
Okay.
Grilling the grips. Last week we said we're going to try to have Key Grips on as guests.
Yes.
Just
getting they would come.
Getting grippy with it. Gripless leg syndrome. Grip rage radio. Grips over wine and cheese. Shattered cast firmly gripped.
Wow.
Bobby gets grippy. Or 8 weeks.
Let's just roll into 8-week season 2. I think that's the play.
All right. Nathan P. writes in, Heidi Ho, Nerd Ragers. Hope you're all doing well. Got to say, the last email was embarrassing to hear being read live. Sort of cracked when I wrote it, but what y'all said don't make me feel any type of way about it. I'll still co-sign what was said by Bubba and Chris, especially the practice saves Patient saves pockets from Chris. I literally waited for the Fans Toys Decepticon Headmasters and reissues were just put up. The email was super embarrassing for me, but I did say to lay me out if I was out of line, so what more can I ask for? Although it was basic in a tantrum email, a dumb tantrum, so I apologize. In an effort to make up for last week's bum-ass question that I sent, I got 2 questions. First of all, let me apologize. I was also fucked up. And
this is the gentleman who was talking about the prices. These prices are too high.
Yeah. So here's another thing, Nathan, and once again, thank you for another redemption.
What is happening?
I have a bad character trait myself, where I will forego the feelings of anyone to get a laugh out of a room. And I know And I think that I try to reconcile it by just like when I was in Annapolis and this girl said I got a big head with nothing but sunglasses on it. I laughed at that louder than anyone she was with. And they laughed. But I thought that shit was funny because this is a funny concept. Like, you got all this room for stuff on your head, but you only got the nerve to put stuff. Like, it's just a funny concept to me. But like, I'm kind of up for it, you know? And not everybody is. And so I appreciate everybody dealing with me in my moment. He said, when a dude is dating a woman who already has kids, specifically 2, is he wrong for going over to her house in the mindset of feeding 2? Is he obligated to feed the kids as well? Nathan, you've got a budget issue, my friend.
Hold on. So you're dating a woman who has kids and you're going to take food over to her house?
For just you 2.
No.
You can't do that.
Well, it depends.
You definitely can't do
if
that.
you're getting foie gras for you and her, you're probably not going to get the kids.
Bring some
But
fries
if
for
you're
the
going to
kids.
fucking Burger King, get them a goddamn Whopper Jr. and be done with it, bro. It's $2.
Or if you're going and you know the kids will be in bed or whatever, and then that's different also. But if you're like, if you plan on just sitting down with your girl and having a meal while these kids look at you with like the sad cat eyes, you got to
looking like Puss in Boots and Shrek holding their hats.
Yeah, you
Just get them some fucking fishes, bro. Give them crackers, some animal crackers, bro.
Or like Dino Nuggets, pop them in the oven, and you know that I think that's okay if you're getting something a little bit more sophisticated. Like say like you're my wife and you're gonna go get a fresh bowl of kava. If you're gonna get kava for you and her, and you know the fucking kids aren't gonna go anywhere near that shit. But you bring like a box of Dino Nuggets, like here, throw these fucking things in the oven. Me and mom are gonna sit
Air
back
fryer.
with this, or in an air fryer. The second question: do you think it's better to go through experiences and have stories about it, or listen to those with experience and have no stories of your own?
Oh man,
Depends on what those are.
No, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've firmly come to the realization that I care nothing about what's at the end. I am all about the journey because I will look forward to something a whole lot, and when it finally happens, I'm like, I wish I could get the feeling back to looking forward to it.
Yeah, but sometimes it's better to avoid certain aspects of that journey if you can learn from other people's experiences.
Like you don't. Nobody needs a crazy ex, bro.
Right. Or any.
I don't know, man.
It depends on the level of crazy.
Listen, I'll say the practice marriage was fucking priceless for me.
I had practice marriage too. That was last year.
Yeah, I think it depends. I think if it's something that that isn't like detrimental to your psyche or person, but you can learn from it, it's better to have your own experience. But if it's something that you can save,
there's some things like I don't think you can't hear somebody's story about having their heart broken and know what the fuck that feels.
That's true. But I had to be involved in a trial for over a year once. Had to stand in front of a jury, and if my story could help somebody avoid that stress for a year, they'd be better off for it.
I understand.
It's also like a prospective versus retrospective thing, right? Because like some things in our lives, some trying times made us who we are.
Well, so that's interesting because now that I'm saying it, I'm like, I'm probably a better person for having gone through it.
Because if that hadn't happened, you might have done some more dumb shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here.
But you can't
not in this space.
You can't see the future, right? So like, because we've already experienced those and we are who we are. But what's to say we're not any better off, if we never went through that in the first place?
No, I mean, there's no way to know.
So like preventative, I think preventative is in general a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I think hearing other people's stories may give you a pause when those situations come up, but living through that is going to make you who you are. It's going to make you who you are.
Yeah, it could make you a bad person.
Man,
that's true too.
Bobby, are we podding today?
I think we're podding today. And a number of different, the Batman conversation, the trauma, we've gotten into some shit today. And I've had some apologies about my own behavior.
Dang it, Bobby.
How's it going, NRR crew? Another weird hypothetical question for you guys. Tomorrow you are told that there is no way to solve world hunger there is a way to solve world hunger with only one string attached. That string being that you and one other person important to you must go to prison for the next 30 years. Granted, it's a relatively nicer person for mostly white-collar criminals. It's a relatively nicer prison. I'm fucking up. For mostly white-collar criminals, you'll get a pretty good commission budget, and they'll throw in conjugal visits, and if the other person's going as your significant other, do you take the prison sentence?
Not the federal pound me in the ass prison?
No, I would, because everybody's going to know. It depends. Is this public knowledge that you were sacrificing this? Because otherwise it's going to be kind of a cakewalk in prison. I think comparatively so, because everybody's...
Like,
Can I bring all my unfinished projects with me? Because that's actually.
Can I bring
I don't think so, because I think you're still going to prison.
Is there a workshop there?
Don't they have games and shit in prison?
Yeah, but their games, like cards and dominoes and shit.
You can't paint 40K stuff?
Can't paint 40K stuff.
I was gonna say that would actually be a good thing for me to finish.
Is it a prison like Magneto is in? It's all clear and everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, like this. I don't know. I'm just trying to be honest, but my answer is no.
Well, you got kids and shit, man.
That's it. Like different. I can't skip that experience. Living through that experience, like I owe them then. You know, what I owe my kids is greater than what I owe the world.
That's fair. Also,
yeah. He said that he has a PS on here. For those who don't know, commissary is kind of like the prison equivalent of Amazon. Yeah, no, I'm familiar with commissary. He said, I used to work for Commissary Warehouse. Thanks for the laughs, guys. Have a good one. Billings. I know Bobby Pickyface might not know if either experience here, but I was curious if you guys enjoy cilantro. They say 20% of people on Earth have a variation in an olfactory gene, which makes cilantro taste like soap to them.
Yeah. Yep, I've heard that many times.
I was curious if any of you fall into that or not, or just don't like it anyway.
Those are the only people that don't eat Chipotle are the people with this fucked up gene.
Yeah, I like Chipotle chicken.
Yeah, because
I just get the chicken and cheese.
Rice too. The rice has
I just get the chicken and
cilantro.
cheese.
I like cilantro.
Did you get a taco? You don't get a burrito when you go?
I get a burrito with chicken and cheese.
No rice? That's not a burrito, bro.
Well, it's put in a burrito wrap.
It doesn't make a taco?
It's like a round quesadilla.
I don't know. I say a burrito with chicken and cheese. They know what I want. Do you guys like asparagus? Similarly to cilantro, some people don't have the ability to smell the very pungent post-asparagus odor in there or anyone else's urine, so not everyone can experience the aroma of asparagus pee. Again, was just curious if you like the vegetable and if you can or cannot detect the unique smell. Love the vegetable. I only eat 2 cooked vegetables. That's broccoli and asparagus. I eat a lot of raw vegetables. I eat a lot of lettuce. I eat a lot of carrots, celery.
Yeah, fucked up looking carrots.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
That's a you thing.
Yeah.
You should join that ugly produce subscription where they just send you these hideous looking things that they can't send to retail.
Because it's cheaper, and the taste just as you can do that.
I shouldn't.
Is that Facebook group for it?
Probably.
But I also smell asparagus piss.
I do too. I'll be honest. I like asparagus a fair bit. My mom never cooked it growing up. I don't know if my dad didn't like it or she just wasn't exposed to it. But I really love asparagus.
Really?
I do too.
I'll take it or leave it. I'll eat it if it's on my plate.
I'll even order it at a restaurant.
What's your favorite?
There's a lot of vegetables I would just eat if it's on my plate.
What's your top 2 cooked vegetables?
Broccoli.
So we can share that.
It's a Chinese thing. I don't even know how to say it in fucking English.
Say it in Chinese.
I think it's watercress.
Yeah, crunchy. Watercress. Is it crunchy? It almost looks like a potato slice and it's crunchy? Is that what you're talking about?
I think you're talking about water chestnuts.
Probably so. So it's almost like a bamboo shoot kind of thing?
Watercress is more like spinach.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Which I love spinach also.
cooked vegetables. Corn? Is that a vegetable?
I don't know if that counts.
Okay,
Isn't
then
that
tell me what
seed?
you mean by a vegetable.
Anything but corn's like has no nutritional value or whatever. So corn's
Does it not?
delicious. Yeah,
I thought
zero.
they made a whole ass syrup out of corn.
Oh yeah,
They
but
do-
it
they do
has
now.
no nutritional value.
Fibers.
And apparently corn was, it was part of the food. It became a
I love
staple.
corn. I love corn.
It became a staple during the Great Depression
With a K?
because it fills you up.
I like corn with a K. I love corn with a C.
Oh God! I eat damn near everything. So I like zucchini and squash, grilled, fried, raw.
Fried anything is
Long,
good. That's not even
short,
fair.
no.
Like you can.
No, I mean I like sautéed. I like sautéed squash and growing up, my parents had a garden and they always grew squash and cooked it. And I like that. I like green beans. Used to not like green beans. I like green beans now.
Yeah, I love is just like I eat it.
And also, if you put it on my plate,
I know I'm supposed to eat it
probably
because it's nutrition value. So I'll tell Chris like, don't ask me if I want a vegetable. Just put it on my plate.
Yeah.
Worst cooked vegetable.
Worst raw vegetable is broccoli.
So I can eat that.
It's
I
fucking
eat
gross.
I've
That
seen it.
aftertaste.
which boggles my mind because that is a very strange texture, and you're a texture
Yeah.
guy.
I can handle it.
The taste is we. I don't know.
But the worst cooked vegetable,
tomato.
Oh yeah, you don't like tomatoes.
I fucking hate a tomato.
See, I'll
don't care
plow
if it's
through a
raw.
tomato.
if you put a tomato, just like cut it in half and put that some bitch on the grill. Oh my God, it's so good.
I'll just take a tomato and just put some salt on it.
Yeah,
You slice it up and put it in the grill like vertically, so it slides right into where the hole is.
tomatoes technically a fruit though. So
That's true.
We're not winning anything here.
For me, it's peas.
Peas.
Like
Oh, like green,
like so. If
like
I have
in the pocket.
they're like little green balls.
like
peas.
Okay, green peas. Yeah. Okay.
Like if
Not green peas, Joe.
Not
green peas.
Black eyed peas.
if you ever get those little like triggers on the side of your jaw,
Yes.
where you're gonna vomit,
Oh,
1 spoonful of peas triggers those things for me.
Is it traumatizing childhood thing like
So
meatloaf?
it was one of those ones I had to eat when I was a kid, and I used to eat them one at a time and swallow them whole.
wow.
Like pills? Bro.
Wow. I'm trying to think if there's something
It
that
probably came out that way too.
Yeah.
carrots, if they're not cooked right, like
Yeah, I prefer cooked carrots.
get kind of like slimy.
I like caramel. I like sweet carrots.
Yeah.
Put some fucking
Honey and shit on 'em.
Cinnamon.
We got a couple
Fucking hungry.
sound
Yeah,
eff-
bro.
I haven't eaten
It's
today.
lunchtime,
We
bro.
got a couple sound effects from Blaster. I'm gonna play a few of them here. We got this one. This is another Biden fumble.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
What? You sound like me. That's some shit I would say.
I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with
Dude, that dude is funny. We got Restless Leg.
So I have like a very restless legs. Like I
That was from last week. We got a good. Here we go.
Yeah, that's
And we'll do 2 more. Spider Cuz.
Suck my fucking dick, Batman!
Batman. Dude, why is Spider-Man beefing with Batman? And then we have Water in a Pot.
And you put water in a pot, it become the.
Oh boy.
So this is from Dave. He said, "Hey gentlemen, I know this is long. Sorry, it's not at all. At all.
we've seen longer, bruh.
He said, Bobby, great show last week. I have been checking out videos on Patreon. Good stuff. Well, welcome, sir. Glad you're enjoying it. Joe, sorry we missed you last show. I guess it was past your bedtime. He was
COVID.
Had COVID. Chris, bless your heart.
I didn't want to spread it.
Yep. That covers all the
And he
bases.
said, just kidding. You're good people. Keep making gold, guys.
Awesome. Thanks. Here's a long one.
This is a long one from
The
Shane.
funny thing is, like, you motherfuckers. Well, Bobby is the one with a fucking 7:00 bedtime.
Yeah, I'm the one that usually goes to bed. I went to bed at 10 o'clock last night. I was like,
I usually
Look
sleep
at
at like
you.
sometime between 1 and 3 a.m.
look at you.
I go with any time between 10 and 1 for me.
Happy Saturday, Ragers. Last few episodes got his wheels turning about some shit. First, Bobby, I remember a while back you mentioned how when riding in the car, you guys never really played kids' music and it always been adult music with the kids. Me and the wife have taken that same approach with our daughters. And as it stands right now, her 3 favorite songs are Return of the Mac by Mark Morrison, Keep On Loving You by REO Speedwagon, and
nice.
Good as Hell by Lizzo. I know not the Good as Hell by Lizzo is about every meal she's ever. Oh, that was an awful, awful joke on my part. I'm sorry. I know not the greatest of choices, but it beats having to listen to Let It Go 1,248 times. Quick question: do your kids gravitate towards any songs as their favorites as they get more exposed to different music? So Jaina likes like a lot of like Billie Eilish, Halsey, stuff like that, like this alternative-esque, and I like a lot of that shit too.
Just like that age group, right?
Yeah. Now Selena, she loves that. She loves like pop music. Like, what's that song? Like, go bonanza, shake your body like a belly dancer. Hey, what's that sound? They wanna know what's going down. And she like that's her vibe. Like top 40 is her vibe.
Nice.
And then the baby is all over the fucking place. She has a little Alexa speaker. It could be playing Let It Go. You know, it could certainly be playing Let It Go. It could also be playing 44 Bulldogs from Pop Smoke. It's another one that ends up on there pretty often. Michael Jackson's Leave Me Alone ends up on there pretty often. Like, you just never know with her. She's all over the map.
My kids are, I don't know. I mean, probably mostly anime shit, to be honest. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
and Kennedy likes some strange stuff. Like, there's a Yellow Wolf song she really likes. She likes some Eminem songs. And Mason's all over the place. He listens to a lot of like, I don't know which you want to call it, like, or 2000s, like 3 Days of Grace and shit like that.
Okay.
So
It's
that's
like,
like
kind of like
our
alternative rock,
generation.
early
Yeah,
2000s
kind of,
alternative
yeah.
rock.
He likes a lot of shit like
He's a little
that.
young for that stuff.
Well, I mean, I exposed, same thing. I tried to keep the edge, as I think Laura says to you often, and I get a lot of humor. I try to keep the body count low.
Yeah.
But I'd listen to some rock music and stuff with them in the car, and he's got a pretty diverse. But he also listens to fucking anime music in Japanese.
Hell yeah.
Can you not?
It's good shit. It's a bop, bro.
It's a pop.
No, I'm in the car.
The BTS boys are getting some heat this week.
Why?
Being racist
Oh, I mean, they're Korean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that not surprising?
Do you know how racist Asian people are in general?
Towards other Asian
And in general.
Everyone.
And in
it's
general.
like stereotypically, it's, there's a lot of other groups of people that feel that way about like, everybody that's not them.
It makes a lot more sense than in America. Like, I not excuse it, but like I understand it. Like when you come from a place where everyone's your people, right? It makes more sense. Like it never made as much sense to me in America because
I think you can play that both ways, but I see your point. But I think you can play it both ways, where you could say, coming from a place where you have to get along with all these, you start to hate different types of people, but I also think that exposure is the number one thing that makes you not hate people. So I see both ways. Secondly, the whole ass wiping conversation has gotten out of hand.
We'll never let it go.
It's infiltrated my circle of friends now, and we had a full-blown debate and conversation about this the other night. I learned about things from them that night that I can never unlearn or unhear. Out of 5 other couples in the house that night, 3 of the other guys were standing front-to-back wipers. Myself and 2 other guys are crumpling leaners. All of the women were leaners, but were split 3-3 on the crumpled versus wipe situation. All parties did agree, though, on a front-to-back technique for wiping, which is funny because I'm back to front.
I do both.
Such a shit show, he says.
Fair. The crumple versus fold, really, to me, it depends on the paper itself.
One last thing, he included his baby in the car.
Go Power Rangers!
I draw the line, man.
Look, they can listen to whatever they want, but
so like the one ply bullshit
that's awesome. But makes me know her.
you get at like Costco or whatever, like that's a crumple. Like how many fucking sheets are you gonna fold? You just fucking yank it and as much as you can and you crumple them in the ball. But you got those like triple layer Charmin fucking like pillow shit. Like you just need to fold 2 sheets together and you're good to go.
My fingers keep slipping. I'm trying to grip that ass.
So here's another one, and I'm trying to get this under before you got to go, Chris. This is 2D beats 3D. What are some positions?
Women? Yeah.
What are some positions that are great when watching porn but suck when you try for real? Reason I ask this is because my girl and I were going at it the other day. At a certain point, we did reverse cowgirl, right? And bro, I swear she was slamming her ass on me like she was nailing a hammer onto a board. And you think that shit is hot. And you know what? Maybe my younger self would have said so, but nah, dog. This shit really hurt. And I do feel like a bitch about it. I was like, hey, easy, Bob the Builder. This shit kind of hurts. And when I said that, I feel like my lady had the spirit of Robert D or something, because her laugh mid-slam sounded exactly like it. Shit was wild. I'm just curious on y'all's thoughts on the matter. That's all I got. Love the content and love what y'all do. Stay safe. Take care.
Anything in water was only good as watching sex.
Ironic.
like as a kid without much experience and just watching porn and watching people have sex in the pool and the shower, whatever.
Yeah, it's awful.
It does not fucking work in real life. It's awful.
Because dilution is the solution to pollution, and that's why it's
That's a great way to put that. Yeah.
And sex on a beach, sand.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, listen, Anakin, I'm good.
Yeah, sand everywhere.
Shit.
I'm good.
I also like Joe, one of your favorite films, you remember Casino, when Joe Pesci is smashing Sharon Stone from the side.
Yeah.
Like, my wife loves that position. And looking at it when I was a kid, seeing it, I was like, oh, probably give it a go. I have a very hard time reaching climax on my side.
Really?
You too.
Same. Yeah.
See? There you go.
I don't.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How you like that? It's actually one of my tricks when I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to come to bed. Yeah. Hey,
switch it aside.
Let's do that thing we both love.
Let me use the extended clip on this one.
So Joshua G writes back and says, is it possible you guys are confusing a toaster oven with a countertop pizza snack oven? I have the pizza oven and it's excellent for pizzas and frozen snacks. Just thought this could be what's going on. But I know.
I'm pretty sure it's the top one.
Everybody's
right?
thinking about the top one. Like you open the door down. There's a little thing.
It's a mini oven. It's what it is.
It's a toaster with a big slot.
Caleb, I feel bad. I don't know what I did. I haven't listened back to last week's show, but Caleb just wrote it in and said, R.I.P. to Casey's chain. Hope he gets it back, dude. R.I.P. God bless the dead to get his chain.
His
niece stole his chain.
Niece stole his chain.
Sold it.
Wow.
Yeah. Hope he gets it back. Again, sorry for the long email. No apologies. We were just going. We had too many people here. We should have just not done questions or something. But you know, hindsight's bloody 2020, Joe. You know what I mean? And then of course we'll end on Paul C, so to speak.
Hello, yellow.
He said, before my question, I just want to share what I found to be the best way to heat up leftover pizza. Well, second best. The best way is to just eat it all like a man, so to speak.
This is true.
I do enjoy room temperature pizza like everyone else, but I've tried all the other techniques: microwave with a glass of water, toaster oven, air fryer. My favorite way is to throw the slice into a panini press.
Yeah,
that way you get the crust to crisp up again, and you get the cheese and toppings to caramelize. It's fucking great. You can also use a George Foreman if you don't have a panini press, but it's not quite as good because of how it's designed. Also, be careful not to grill your foot.
Yep. I was about to bring that up. It's a real problem.
Anyway, my question: what is something beloved from your youth or just early in your life that you haven't revisited out of fear that it won't hold up and you don't want to taint the memory? Are you able to watch, play, read something that no longer holds up but still revere it how you did back in the day? Always love the NRR special guests. Are there any of them coming to Skullfest? Yes, they are. Some of them.
Poor bastards.
Gomez will be here. Chucky O will be here. And E.T. may be here as well.
Nice.
Yeah. Casey will be out of town. I'm trying to think if there's anything I just haven't revisited out of fear.
We revisited stuff that aren't good, like He-Man.
Yeah, we revisited stuff that we shouldn't have in hindsight.
Yeah.
I always have like these best, like, I'll be fine. And I'll be like, I'm never watching that shit again. Fuck that dumbass show. And fuck myself for ever liking it.
So I have two sayings. One is never meet your heroes, and never try to relive your memories.
Yeah,
because it's almost always going to be disappointing in both cases.
But I'll tell you, to answer the second part, like there's a lot of stuff that I do go back that I'm like, man, I love this. And maybe it's not great as it was, but I still love it. Like, and I'll give you the one that pops in my head: Never Ending Story. Whenever I go back to Never Ending Story, it still feels just as good as it always felt. And to be fair, there's very few movies that I put in that category. Episode 4 from Star Wars, Never Ending Story, and fucking Transformers 86 movie. Like, they always feel the exact same to me when I go back to them.
Bobby, I had something come across my feed the other day, and I thought of you, and I should have pinged you immediately. I have a friend named Paige who's involved in the Mezco community, and he does a review, like basically like a Mezco weekly he'll do. And he referenced Flight of Dragons and said how much he loved it. Yeah.
Too bad he's not involved in the fucking Cystic Legions community. That could have been a sign.
Man, never know. Never know.
My fingers are crossed. And I think that they could, like, I don't know. Tell your people to get in touch with me. I think that they would go for both crowds. You know, they'd get all their normal crowd. They'd get all your normal crowd, and then they could also get me. You know,
that's right. That's the
They're
important
silly
part.
looking. They're not like cool dragons.
Cool is subjective. What if I put sunglasses on them?
That's all you need.
Yes, Bobby's go-to move.
That's all you need.
With that, thank you everybody that sent questions. Apologies to anybody who I may have offended last week with questions. Once again, I was just in a vibe, having a good time. And I talk a lot of shit. But I also get a lot of shit talked back to me, and I'm still holding up fairly well.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. And also shout out to everybody who's part of the Cool Table. As far as I'm concerned, if you listen to this podcast and have one of your own or don't, you're part of the Cool Table as well. And shout out to the rest of the Nerd Rage team. Oh, speaking of which, let's do Thought of the Week.
That's right.
Oh, shit, yes.
So,
as Phil said anything, I haven't seen anything.
He hasn't said anything to me. So, Thought of the Week this week is there's a young anime girl. She's got little elf ears.
Look out. There's hands on her hips.
And there's hands on her hips that are coming up from the bottom that aren't her hands. And Phil's response, whoever has those hands is lucky.
Oh, look out.
There you go.
Great work, Phil.
The thought provoker. Shout out to the thought to the thought provoker who handles our Twitter and also provides our notes and also provides our thought of the week. And also shout out to Dante who helps with Facebook, and to Raul who runs Instagram, and Ricky Tiki Timber who does the videos, and anybody else who may help behind the scenes. And with that,
Flappy labius.
Tasty taint.
tight dick player.